All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back for the second consecutive night of hopefully banger CRL matches. Streaming the Tri-Cities Slam Qual 1 last night. It was basically all Game 5s and Best of 5s. Hopefully we get all Game 7s and the Best of 7s we're streaming tonight. It's NECC night on the Mr. Bepic stream. And I've brought in the big guns in the broadcast booth for this one. Somber, my man, how you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I was tuned in to as much as I could of last night's stream, and that JMU Florida series to cap things off was just cinema. So it's gonna be a tough task to follow that up, but hopefully tonight is a good one. We got some great teams on the docket, some Div 2 and Div 1 matches. I'm really excited to get a look at a few teams that I'm maybe not as familiar as I'd like to be with, especially with rankings coming out shortly here. I'd like to see if there's maybe some sleeper teams that I might need to keep an eye on for NECC.
Yeah, we're kind of starting off with the real unknowns at the start of the stream tonight. I'm gonna put the full schedule up on the screen right now. Starting off with the University of North Dakota versus GCU. And GCU, calling them unknowns, a little bit weird because they've got a couple players and a legacy of being a strong team in CRL West, but they've dipped down a little bit the last couple of semesters. So they're in NECC Division 2 this semester, along with North Dakota. That's where we're sitting for 2 of our 3 series tonight. But after this one, we got Akron Gold and Kennesaw State, top 20 matchup in the primetime slot, and then South Carolina and Daytona State's capping us off with another banger of a Division 2 matchup. But we still got Bean Boy in the lineup. GCU still have some pretty good name value on their team. Nando and Nightmare Rally capping out the trio. And then it's the Brick Wall, Carve Dog, and Mogi on the UND side, who Somber I'm kind of learning about. I think I've casted more of a high school team that plays in the UND facility than I actually have the UND team. So I get to learn about the boys from North Dakota tonight.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. I looked it up on the NECC website, looked at the matchup to look over the roster, see if there was any names I recognized. And then I believe maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I went on my phone to just doom scroll on Twitter. And the first thing on my For You page was the roster announcement for their Rocket League CS2, I believe their COC, Call of Duty team. And I was like, this is very weird that something not connected to my phone influenced this random tweet to pop up. But yeah, I'm interested to learn more about them. Daytona State as well. You got them in at number 40.
Yeah.
I knew that they had a little bit of buzz around the end of fall, but them going up against USC is going to be a really good indicator if you were spot on putting them on the radar at that number 40 spot. So I'm really excited to see them later in the docket as well. And then that Akron Kennesaw match is just going to be cinema. I already know it.
I mean, that's the known quantities series. Daytona State and South Carolina potentially as well, with some question marks around them. A good fall, but can they keep that up into the spring sort of thing? Like Akron Gold and Kennesaw State, we kind of know what we're gonna get from that series, even with the slight changes. But I mean, with South Carolina, Daytona State, I really am excited to get some of those questions answered. Because honestly, with my own ranking, I think Daytona State might be even a little bit low at 40, in all honesty. And so they've got a chance to really jump up the rankings, especially this week and going into the next several weeks of play with CRL coming back, more LAN qualifiers, whatever we get to play. NECC is stacked. I think we're gonna switch out servers here, Somber, so I'm gonna have you leave that lobby. But in the meantime, while we are getting the proper lobby set up, I have to show off the 2 groups at least that we're streaming it tonight in Division 2 of the NECC. And as per the norm, I need to crop a little bit to get everything fit in. But this is East B. This is the South Carolina and Daytona State group, and there are 5 top 48 ranked rosters in this group of 8, Somber. I think BPCU JV and Kennesaw State, be honestly, as well, could stake a claim for a top 48 spot as well. I mean, this is an insanely stacked group in the NECC.
Yeah, I mean, there's even some teams like UCF. UCF on a good day, they can cause some upset. That might be a little bit of my bias talking. I love that roster for UCF. But yeah, this is a pretty insane stacked side of the East. I feel like when you look at Division 1, it seems a little bit more even. There's a few teams in each of them that it's like, yeah, these guys are going to have to punch up a little bit. Here, again, teams like Florida Southern, Daytona, I want to say that there's a distinct kind of difference between some of the teams that are around them, but on any given day, they can play up. It's going to be an interesting season going forward, or semester rather, going forward with this group of teams. They can all cause upsets. I know that USC squad, you said you had some question marks. I think that all my questions were answered by how they wrapped out fall. I think that they're going to be a top team in here, but after them and maybe BBCJV as clear number 1, number 2, it's all just 6 to 1/2 dozen of the other.
Well, this is the West Central group that we're casting tonight with UND and GCU in it. West Central not quite as stacked as East. That's just kind of always been the case with CRL. But you got squads in this group like UND, GCU. You got Texas A&M in there, San Diego State, and Southeastern Oklahoma State are really quality rosters. I think honestly those are the two favorites to compete in this group, and I think GCU and UND have it in them as well. A&M, UCSB, we've learned a lot about in CCS. That Santa Barbara roster, kind of making their way up the rankings in CCS as well, which is where a lot of these club teams out west have started to build a resume for themselves. And so I'm excited to get to watch a little bit of this West Central action. San Diego State and Southeastern Oklahoma State playing at the same time too, so we'll keep an eye on that because that's got top 48 implications.
Oh yeah, 100%. I felt like it was a little weird to see San Diego State in this grouping, and I was like, I feel like that's kind of a mismatch with all of these teams. But then I started going through it, kind of reminded myself about what Santa Barbara was doing, knowing that GCU they have made teams like UTA, specifically in CCS during the rivalry weeks. They have made teams like that look like a bunch of champs at times. They've been able to take quality rosters and make them look not as good as we know them to be. So I started kind of coming to the logic of this is another very even group. So I'm interested, not just for the names that I don't know, but the teams that I do know, to see how they're going to be able to separate themselves in this West group, in SDSU, in GCU, how they're able to kind of find that next level and show that, you know, from fall to now they've made a little bit of a jump. They are those kind of clear-cut teams above the rest, and all these other teams to step up to the challenge.
Well, let's get acclimated with GCU and North Dakota. We mentioned the names verbally, but I pulled up the match page as well, as we got a player going through an update at the moment, getting into the lobby, so it'll be a second longer. But these GCU guys, I mean, a bit up and down since they were playing in CRL West. They went to CECC last year, competed well. I don't think made the final playoff bracket, but were one of those teams that, you know, lost to I think it's the top 8, top 12 that made it to the playoff bracket in CECC. They were just on the outside of making it there, where they won one series against a team they need to beat, and then lost to the teams that were better than them on paper. And so they're coming back with a fair bit of consistency. I mean, Bean Boy and Nando especially, we've been talking about for several semesters now. And so for GCU, I think this is their series to win here, as we're learning about UND just a little bit. But GCU definitely favorites, and I think this is a series that they should be winning to start off their campaign if they want to keep pace with San Diego State and Southeastern Oklahoma potentially as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. GCU being the known commodity in this lobby, it's hard to bet against them, especially with I feel like they started out fairly strong with fall, started to taper off a little bit, but found their footing once again. I will be more interested in two things: of how Nightmare Rally looks. They're a big X factor. We know what Bean Boy and Nando are going to bring. They're going to bring a lot of pressure from the midfield. They're going to put up a lot of shots. But are we going to see Nightmare Rally step up and be an aggressive third man, an aggressive second man, following up on shots? And if North Dakota can go ahead and keep up with this tempo, they're a very tough team to keep up with in terms of pace of the lobby. We get to see here what they're made of.
Yeah, and I totally forgot to reset my overlay for this series from last night. I had everything else going, and so as we watch GCU score the first goal of this series, I'm going to be updating things here. But kickoff goal to open us up. Nightmare Rally just dominated too.
It looks like they weren't quite ready for the kickoff yet. Maybe the spectators joining a touch later than usual, not having that instant kickoff go. They seemed a bit thrown off that it was already happening, but they look to reset here now with another kickoff. Nando will look for the double tap. Nightmare Rally follow-up shot, goes crossbar once more. Bean Boy another one, and this is something that they're going to have to deal with as the game goes on, as the series goes on. Shot after shot after shot. This GCU team, they can be very defensive, but I think that their priority is always shot, just offense by assault, and make you uncomfortable, wait for a crack to appear, and go ahead and punch one through the back of the net. already up 1-0, 30 seconds in, still playing good defense, but the pinch goes their way, and Bean Boy finds it top bins.
That's a really weird 50-50. Bean Boy just kind of shovels this off of Carved Dog, and it's the flat hitbox. Carved Dog goes side on to the ball, and it gets pinched off the undercarriage of the breakout, and so GCU will nab a quick 2-0 lead, kickoff goal to start, and then unrelenting pressure like you talked about. That shot after shot after shot mentality, and here's another one the brick wall won't be able to get a handle on, and GCU are dominating so far.
Yeah, maybe still waiting for the mortar to dry on that brick wall. They were just got out rotating, maybe hoping for a few more pads before a shot came out, but they end up awkward and not able to get back to it. 45 seconds in, 3 goals. One of them did come off of a kickoff, but again, just quick, unrelenting offense. You need to be able to get this clear out quickly. Carved Dog will be stuffed out at the midfield. Bean Boy already up. Will be challenged well from behind by brick wall. Nightmare Rally back out. Nando double tap threatening, but it will be off target. Now Bean Boy, there's a nice touch to the sidewall, wanting it mid back to themselves. Brick wall, their first look at offense, backboard touch, shot does not follow through. Now Nightmare Rally, minimal boost, we'll just keep it low, pop it high for Bean Boy to follow. Centering shot once more, brick wall, read by Nando, and a nice clear out by Carved Dog. We're now finally seeing a little bit of space given up by GCU, not as smothering as they were the opening minute. They're getting a couple looks down on that orange side of the field, but nothing to show for it yet.
This is much better though for North Dakota. They've actually found some footing in this game, and so I suppose the benefit of going down by 3 this early is you got time now. You got a little bit more presence in the offensive zone. You're forcing double commits now off that GCU back line, and if they can actually put some decent shots on target, there was that double tap opportunity missed with the open GCU backboard right there. Was a decent opportunity to hammer a hard ball on target, but hey, there's the first one. North Dakota grind their way to an opener, and they've still got a chance. In this first game, there was a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah, the one redeeming thing about going down by a wide margin in the opening 45 seconds means that you still have over 4 minutes to play, as we're getting some comms that controller issues are happening over on the side of North Dakota. But hey, good on you, working through adversity, getting that bump on the back line and finding a way to score. You still have just over half the game to try to tack on another and maybe try to tie this thing up late. But a big dunk coming out from Nightmare Rally will make that much harder to do now. They get that right back to 3.
And I will say, I think this is a good time now with a little bit of time to talk with the 3-goal lead being built up by GCU. That this semester I am going to be streaming NECC matchups. D1 and D2 mostly, unless there's a really compelling Division 3 matchup that someone wants me to broadcast. But I am an official side streamer of the NECC. They do have the main channel going on right now. They got Florida and Florida Southern happening in about 2 hours time. So we'll definitely be watching that one on the side monitor. But I'm not an admin or anything like that, so I'm not enforcing rules while I'm streaming. I'm just watching some high quality Rocket League. So I believe timeouts are legal. It's a best of 7. Most leagues have stipulations in their rule books that you can take timeouts, and I haven't read the NECC rule book in almost a year and a half, so I assume that is the case, but I don't know for certain. So I think that's what we're probably getting after this game, but either way, I mean, UND kind of do need a timeout to get themselves collected after the weird start that we've had.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it, best of 7. I think that it is nice seeing a league take a best of 7 format into their regular season games. I think that best of 7 is just provide for a little bit more content and opportunity. Yeah. Great team save coming out on the back line, but also just giving teams the experience of having a little bit longer. You have an extra game at a minimum to go ahead and make adjustments. It's going to be very good for these teams that are using these as reps. Oh my goodness, Bean Boy. To finish up my thought quickly, using these as reps, getting extra games is always going to be nice, but I think that right now you'd like this to be a shorter series if you're North Dakota with GCU popping off like this.
Yeah, that is the nice part about best of 7s. And I was actually talking to Larry of Florida about this right before this series started, because he's in agreement that if we could make every single series best of 7, I think we would. It's just the purest form of competitive Rocket League. You've got a lot of time to adjust and figure your opponent out. You've got the chaotic starts where you are sorting out the play style of your opponent. Then you can make several layers of adjustments between games 2 and 3, 4 and 5, potentially 6 and 7 if the series goes that long. And then that puts even more tension in a game 7. You've been playing for so long, probably almost a full hour of Rocket League. And it comes down to one game at the end of all of that back and forth RL. It really is the best way to present competitive Rocket League. There's a reason why all championships, like all the best moments in RLCS, have come from Game 7s and Best of 7s.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you hit it kind of on the head with saying you get the extra chance to adapt, but you also have games like this, series like this, where things just aren't going your way. You're playing against a really tough opponent, and game 1 is 8-1. And really, at this point, the only adjustment you need to make is get that controller working first and foremost, and not concede as quickly as you did in the next game. It's going to be some easy adjustment, or easier said than done adjustments here for North Dakota. Heading into the next game, game 2 is going to be them needing to up the pace and getting their third kind of fully back in action, as final minute here in game number 1, and GCU, they're just going to keep running away with this one. I don't think I've ever seen a game where they clam up in the final minute. They're going to keep putting on shots and trying to get this to double digits.
Yeah, if they do keep scoring as well, I think we'll skip the replays at the end of this one. We'll probably skip some more basic replays. We're a little bit behind schedule with the pauses and such, but unless there's something crazy, then we'll skip through it. 30 seconds left, goal number 9, not exactly a wild one. GCU are just piling it on right now, and yeah, game 1, I think a forgettable one for North Dakota especially, and so they'll reset. I know this is a pretty well supported esports program. I've had the pleasure of working with a Grand Forks Central High School's Rocket League team this semester, and they are in the same town as the UND facility, so they frequently play there on the during the streams that I'll do for them. And so I've gotten to hear about the UND facility. It's where the Fenworks North Dakota State Championship is happening this semester, and so I know the UND guys are well supported, and typically I feel like programs that have the kind of support like that are able to lock in a bit better. They're used to playing alongside each other, and that usually lends itself to better team chemistry and being able to keep each other's heads up. So I don't think a 10-1 scoreline will phase these guys too much.
Yeah, I think especially when you're going through hardware issues, it's very easy. It's much easier. For the free jump.
A little crazy.
10-1. Yeah, ruthless is GC. But yeah, I think that having hardware issues, it's going to be a lot easier to shake that off when your controller's not working, when you are basically 2v1ing for anywhere from 20 to 30% of the game. You could just kind of chalk things up and say, hey, let's go ahead and fix the tech issues and just play it like it's a fresh series. So I don't foresee this being the spiral down here for North Dakota. I think that this is just another road bump in their collegiate journeys.
Yeah, and there were some bright spots in that game as well, even with the tech difficulties. They started finding a little bit of presence in offense, and Mogia posted 500 points in a 10-1 loss, which is pretty solid. I think their backline reads could definitely improve. GCU were absolutely having their way with the corners and back wall in the blue end, but GCU are looking very clean right now. I mean, we saw like the pre-jump plays connecting when they're up by 9 goals at the end of that game. They are on point tonight, and honestly, if they're playing like this, they really could be a significant threat to what I think is San Diego State's group at the moment. But GCU, they are familiar with this San Diego State team, and that's going to be a good matchup a couple weeks down the line.
Yeah, like I said, taking their series kind of against UTA, where I wouldn't say that UTA is necessarily the same level of team or the same style of team as SDSU, but they are a respectable opponent. And seeing GCU, I believe it was up until this season, the last 3 semesters, they've just kind of dominated UTA in CCS, and seeing that showing and seeing that they are consistently ranked above teams that are similar caliber to that of a San Diego State, they can be the biggest challenge out of this group. It's just if they can play this type of Rocket League consistently enough, and I think that they can. They've had some time now with Nightmare Rally. It was spring of last year that they brought them up in place of Tropy, and I think that they've just been gelling. They've kind of found their identity. They like to play that pressure heavy, but they also know that, hey, when we're playing up against another team that can play, you know, very quick on offense, have very quick rotations, quick follow-ups, we know that we trust our back line enough. We cover multiple shooting lanes, we cover the backboard, and we just get out and we run with pace with the ball. And they're a very tough team no matter what style of play they throw at you.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're playing in CCS consistently shows a willingness to grind in those sorts of leagues too. Because I think CCS is quality gameplay once you get towards the end of it, but you have to get through some some conference matchups that are probably not very fun to play for them. And so the fact that they are getting through those, and that's not a roadblock for them at all. They're playing and beating UTA, a quality competition there, and then making runs in the tournament bracket as well. I think that shows you a lot about the GCU mindset. And even though they aren't quite playing at their same CRL West levels of years past, that they still are hungry to win, and they are going to take the opponent in front of them and play them with a positive mindset and with a full locked-in mentality, which you have to now because UND have started us out with a bang, scoring 14 seconds in.
Yeah, this is already a team that does not look like they just got 10-1 the game before. That's a beautifully executed counterattack coming out for UND, and they get it started early here. That's what you need to do against GCU. You need to get that lead early, start playing from in front, play with a little bit of confidence, play with a little bit of momentum. That's a great way to grab some early game here. Brick wall gonna get bumped off the play. Nando launch into corner. Will be followed up off that touch. Nightmare Rally up early. Drop down shot will be slow and just off target. Follow up from Bean Boy, putting it back out to Nando, and there you go. The rinse cycle, getting them through 3 straight shots, and it results in a goal. A nice equalizer here for GCU.
It's an immediate punish on the carved dog miss as well right there. North Dakota, we're defending pretty well up until that point where carved dog miss off the back wall, and GCU hammered a couple shots at net to break him down. So that's nice from GCU, still punching hard in the offensive zone and slamming that back wall and net when they're able to. But still tied up right now. UND showing some good counterattack potential. We saw that in game 1. It turned into a good opening goal here in game 2, but they will need more.
Had to go on defense. The good force and then a nice follow-up, but it does not matter. You're not able to alter that possession enough. It turns into a shooting opportunity. Nando gonna strike true for goal number 2 here for GCU. And I think that it's going to be really tough to play this GCU offense on the outlet. They're doing well by trying to send 2. This might be another shot opportunity. Brick wall just underneath the play, able to skirt it past that last man. It's going to be very tough off these kickoffs, or to not get things not off these kickoffs. These quick opportunities is what you need to capitalize here.
Yep.
If you're UND, and they do so beautifully for a response.
Yeah, if their defense isn't going to be playing cleanly, which we haven't seen so far, small samples, I think, considering the game 1 that they can forget about with the tech difficulties, and now just a minute and a half into game 2. Their defense isn't quite up to the task, and that's a better start. Mogia making a great save on that quick 2-on-1 that GCU put together, but we may need to see UND living off of those counterattack and kickoff plays where the GCU defense isn't quite set, taking advantage of that little bit of extra space, because GCU are hitting hard at the moment and they can establish possession well. That was a really nice exchange.
Yeah, the 50, and then just quick beat over the top. Bean Boy sticking with the play, goes for the car instead of the ball, and it turns out to be the right decision. They're able to net a 3rd here. And already a much closer game, but it's still GCU just having their way with these shots that get the last man to bite, get a second man to kind of hesitate on the ball, then it opens it up for a 3rd. That time, a rare no pressure opportunity here for the UND defense, and they're able to try to play this through the corner. Brick wall gets a touch past 1, he thought, but Nando is quick to just put it right back. Bean Boy goes back wall, not able to find a goal off of it, but will continue to stay right outside this blue box. Brick wall touches it to the corner. Nando already there. Another touch pass out. This is going to be a nice high shot. Bean Boy forced to use their own backboard for safety. Carve Dog has Mogi off the backboard, trying to get a little flashy here as we're now under half. Still fighting down by 1 is UND.
Mogi, oh, taken out. Had a full tank of boost right there. Definitely looking to get something going, but won't be able to without car privileges. And we back on the pitch now, but contested by Nightmare Rally there. And GCU low on boost for a moment, but they fuel up, though that's right as the brick wall finds an escape route through that midfield line, and UND have set themselves up with a little bit of room in offense, but it's quickly taken away. We continue to go back and forth now, which I think is very good for UND, keeping GCU thinking about offense, having to tether themselves to both sides of the pitch, which could leave them limited on the back foot, but that's a nice couple of beats by Bean Boy, though Mogia in defense looking very strong, intervening before that passing play really connected.
Yeah, right now UND just trying their best to keep them honest in these final 90, not allowing them to set up camp, getting nice air dribble plays, and brick wall. He was trying to play bodyguard, but ends up being the secure man downfield. Beautiful possession, reset, and just over the top of 1, and Bean Boy gets boxed out on their own backline. We got a tie ball game with 1:23 left on the clock.
That was nice too. Mogia really is looking strong on the UND side. The quick reset, a little bit of extra boost to keep the pace going. I mean, again, bright spots for the UND attack. They look strong on the front foot, but it's these defensive errors that still worry me about them. But they're hanging tight here in game 2, and that's what matters. 6 goals across both sides here, across 4 minutes of play. Nightmare Rally doesn't have any boost to keep that play going. Needed the support of Bean Boy to make sure UND couldn't swoop in and snatch up an easy opportunity to take a late lead. But Brick Wall has been down. Carve Dog's low on boost. GCU a strong opportunity now.
Backline a little frantic here. Brick wall on nothing. Does get 1 touch out. Bean Boy now with a ceiling reset. Able to put that to the back wall, but Mogi plays it patient down below. Will now try to rotate back around. Brick wall goes again. A third man rotating in front post. Mogi for the secure, gets dunked out underneath, and Bean Boy gets the touch on through. 22 seconds, and GCU reclaiming that lead.
Just wore them down. Too many clean 50-50 wins in this series so far for Grand Canyon. It seems like probably about half of their challenges, honestly, it seems like they're getting a lot of space off of, whether it is just a complete win where there's no contact from a UND player, or it's over the top of a UND player where there is contact but still a lot of space gained. And now Nando and Nightmare Rally are off the ceiling together, and that was almost a spectacular fifth. But now Mogi is in a 1v1, though Bean Boy makes a great read as a lone defender there for GCU, and now Nightmare Rally can end this game too in Grand Canyon's favor, but doesn't do so. Now Mogia going backboard again and off the ceiling, gets back to that ball. Really good read. Could have set something up if there were more than 0 seconds on the clock, but GCU do get out of game 2 with the win.
Yeah, and it was a hard-fought win.
Yeah.
Late game equalizer coming through by UND. The defense still is the biggest glaring issue. They're giving up just a few too many cracks in the armor on their defensive backline, kind of showing to GCU that, like, hey, we're going to give you opportunities, but it's on you to make good on them. Are you staying aggressive enough to punish us for these little lapse in judgment? But that was a great bounce back game too. Again, being able to shake off a tech pause, a tech loss very quickly and get them right back into it. You kept them honest. You kept them having to fight through the entire game. For the full 5 minutes, they didn't get a chance to let off the gas and try for the pre-jump plays and really just kind of try and demoralize you with a loss. That you were able to then come back and contend, and now you having a chance to ride that little bit of momentum despite the loss and get right back into it. And maybe off a Mogi solo play, Bean Boy will get back to it. Brick wall centering touch, not good enough to get into the hands of Mogi. Now Bean Boy looks to go the other way, and Carve Dog able to alter the path just enough to go ahead and put that one off target.
Good transition defense on a pair of attacks by Carve Dog, especially. It was the lone defender off the backboard in the first one, and then right there tracking back to get a touch on it before GCU find an opener. And this is better from UND still. They are worming their way up into this series, but GCU still look very strong. They've still got good speed all around the pitch, but Nightmare Rally's been beaten over the top by Mogi, and that wasn't on target, but Mogi is constantly threatening in the offensive zone, really demonstrating an ability to exploit the smallest of gaps on the GCU back line. You've got to be quick on the goal line when Mogi's up front.
Brickwall was looking for the pass down into their own corner. It was going to be Nightmare Rally dumping it off to Bean Boy, and again, just quick, successive touches by the side of GCU lead to goals. Bean Boy up to go. Mogi not able to get the power behind the clear, and it will go ahead and fall through for the opening goal. But this time, it takes almost a minute and a half in for GCU to find it.
Boy, clean catch, but dunked by Mogi here. No double. Carved Dog can't commit as well as Nightmare Rally was first on the scene. The brick wall on the near side splits two and has a no-boost Nando running at him, but Nando making the right decision as third man there. If he lets that ball go and allows UND to set up a counterattack, that could be a fast equalizer after GCU scored the opener here about 2 minutes in. But GCU will continue to press in that blue end. Bean Boy and Nando together won't be able to do too much of anything. Bean Boy is stuffed just outside the blue box, and North Dakota, they find themselves a clear.
Only 12 boost for Brick Wall. Could have had something to go their way. Instead, it will be a transition play. Nando with the big-time bully ball dunk on the back line. This is a beautiful 1-2-3 play downfield. To clear off backboard, Bean Boy used that ceiling to angle it down towards where Nando's already anticipating a pass to come through, and they complete the play. Now lead by 2 are GCU.
A lot of their goals as well coming off of strong challenges. Right there, a dunk out in front with Nando completely mind-reading the defender of UND. We saw a lot in game one. I think even the opening goal was a dunk off of the breakout of Carved Dog. I forget who scored it on the GCU side, but complete outplay in the challenge game. And here's a potential other one. Mogi does stay at home on the backboard, but GCU are still threatening constantly in that blue box with solid challenges, dunks, extra little touches off of the blue cars of UND, and it's led to now a 2-goal lead with 2 minutes left, and this is definitely a must-win for North Dakota.
Absolutely, going down 3-0. You can't take away the 10-1 game. You can try to take it away mentally, but on the stat sheet, it's still going to stand. And while you do have you thought you had 2 games to go ahead and warm up, it's very quickly going to become 3-0 if they're not able to find something in this final 2 minutes. But they did start to come alive in the last minute of game number 2. See if they can find some of that magic once more. But GCU just stuffing at the midfield. The defense on the back line has been too good. The shot quality has not quite been there this game for UND. It's been a lot of easy shots, a lot of easy clears out, and getting back downfield here for GCU. That's a good quality shot. The follow from Brick Wall will be good, and they make good on probably their best opportunity so far this game. Nice double touch from Mogi. Get the basketball dribble back to backboard, and Brick Wall, right place, right time to knock it home.
That's perfect from both players up front at a UND. Spectacular play again by Mogi. It's the sort of setup work that they have to be doing for North Dakota, but for the Brick Wall, you're right place, right time for the right reasons. Great rotation, and now again, it has the ball laid in their lap by Mogi here off of a 50-50 this time around. A little bit more difficult than the ground double as he dunks Nightmare Rally into giving that ball away. And just like that, UND have stormed back to level this game.
Giving GCU a bit of a taste of their own medicine with that play as well. Winning out the 50-50, and then having a quick teammate follow that time. Just unfortunate. You're getting threatened by, I believe, Bean Boy on that back line, threatening a 50. Mogi goes early. Brick Wall has to come in, cut off the play, doesn't get the angle that they want, and it's right into the lap of GCU. They get that lead right back.
Yeah, that's a rough one to concede for UND. They just got back in this game, and then Bean Boy fakes out 2 on the goal line, but shows you the composure of GCU. They concede a couple of quick goals, and at the end of a game that I'm sure they know just as well as we do is a significant one to win in a best of 7, because reverse sweeps don't happen all that often. They don't get nervous or anything like that, trying to push too hard for that next go-ahead goal. Instead, they stay composed. Bean Boy with a couple of fakes puts that sets up his teammate for success. And with 30 seconds left, it might be enough to grab a 3-0 series lead. But let's see what UND have to say about that.
Mogi has an opportunity for a second touch, but Bean Boy will take it off that backboard. And now 15 seconds left on the clock, having to go basically coast to coast here at the midfield line. You get a little bit of a lapse in the play. 10 seconds, brick wall, centering ball. Mogi's there, shot goes top bins and rattles off the crossbar. We thought we were chalking it up to a quick 3-0, but storming back once more is UND. Mogi puts it where no one can get it, and we got a tie ball game with 6 ticks left to go.
And it's everyone contributing in that counterattack play. Carve Dog with the pinch, the brick wall downfield already in the corner, making a move to set up Mogi for the score. And Mogi with a great shot to polish the play off. Should send us to overtime, but that ball is still up, though, just for an extra bounce. GCU have their 2-goal lead taken away, their late game lead taken away, and Mogi can win it right here and will do exactly that. UND aren't done yet.
He did the equivalent of off the inbound play on a buzzer beater, ripping the ball away from your teammate and draining the 3 for the win. What a play by Mogi to no boost, somehow keep their momentum through bumping their teammate, and they get it to go. What a win. We thought it was done. We thought that 3-2, you get 2 quick goals, you have some momentum, and then it just felt soul crushing. I felt the air leave my room when I saw that 3rd goal go in, but you turned it around. 4-3 the final scoreline, and the first win on the board for UND.
That's gotta be so hype for North Dakota. Rough start to this series. They take a while to get into it after tech difficulties in game 1. A back and forth with GCU still looking the better team in game 2. Once everything was settled down, then they go down early in game 3, but it doesn't matter. They still work their way back and win in overtime to grab an important game win here in this best of 7. This is week 1 of the NECC, by the way. Lots of Rocket League to be played here in Division 2 and across the entire league, but still, getting these wins early on can build a lot of important confidence for a team, and I think both of these rosters could use a good bit of important confidence.
Oh, that's a great shot. Put it right behind the defense, but it clanks off the post. Another bump play coming through, and again, they did it last game with the little give and go off the 50-50. This time they're just cycling through shots and make GCU play a little bit of defense to their own offensive play style. Shot after shot falls through, and UND, they showed resiliency last game, but can they keep it consistent? Can you keep that same level of play? They show kicking off the first goal here that they can.
So far, so good, and again, it's more solid work in transition, but GCU will get one back pretty shortly after conceding the first, and again, it's a transition goal. Just pure speed by Nando at the midfield line, finding a gap between 2 UND defenders, and so GCU, not a team that'll cave to any sort of pressure either. Both squads showing an ability to face adversity nicely in this series, and we are in for a treat of a game 4 if this keeps up.
Yeah, opening minute already trading blows. Both teams, GCU, I think, now trying to see what this UND squad is made out of, if they have to be nervous about a comeback attempt, because they not up the series here, but you want to try and get yourself in the driver's seat once more here for GCU. Need to kind of slow down this UND team. They're feeling hot. They're feeling good. Mogi with an air dribble feels confident as ever. Drop down will be received by Nando, and they get a quick clear out. Looking for a possession play through their own midfield line. Mogi is able to just beat out Nightmare Rally, and we stay here postured up in the orange half.
Oh, Nando just side flipped. Is beaten by Mogi as well, but Nightmare Rally, we'll get back to that shot. It was a little bit light. Nightmare Rally, only 20 boost, but got a teammate, and that's enough for a strong shot that Mogi had to stretch to save. We're still tied, and the fact that UND have upgraded defensively, Somber, I think is the biggest change for them. We knew their offense was good since really the start of this series. We saw good glimmers at the end of game 1 into game 2, but it's their defense that is keeping them in this set, and Mogi up front that is really elevating them to potentially above GCU.
right now, Mogi, while they are the shooter, I felt like they were the only one playing above the rim, the only one playing in the skies the last 2 games. Now we're seeing Carve Dog and Brick Wall using that boost a little bit more effectively, playing above the defense, having multiple avenues to play offense through. And that has also been a big game changer here heading into this game, showing that GCU has another threat that they have to worry about. Just when you think, hey, they're going to beat us on these team plays, they're going to beat us on these little bumps, they're going to try and 50 us as well. No, now you have to worry about solo plays. Now you have to worry about these nifty second touches to get a centering ball and these pre-jumping teammates. Their defense has leveled up and their offense has found a new dimension. They are getting better and better as this series goes on.
Brick Wall now with a musty double almost. That is an ambitious play that the Brick Wall made look pretty good until the ball was just shy of being on target, but still, it's a good look into the minds of these UND players as they are feeling very confident at the moment. But in a 2v1, how confident is Mogi? Enough to stay stuck on the goal line and defend against that Nando shot and find the clear to boot. Now we're off to the races into GCU territory. Center ball for Mogi. Can't drop it on target, but does put it center. No one will commit alongside him. It's a bit too aggressive for North Dakota despite the confidence levels aforementioned. Still though, a 1-goal lead for UND. And with 100 seconds left, that could be safe if they keep defending well, though the Brick Wall with a miss right there could invite GCU in for an equalizer.
Yeah, this is their opportunity to try to set up offense, try to get sustained pressure. The nice 50-50 going the way of Nando. We'll follow up with a second touch, and Bean Boy right there to go ahead and progress it further. Nightmare Rally back down, harsh touch off the ceiling. Nando, again, just trying these centering touches, trying to get back to that flurry of shot offense that we saw in game 1 and game 2, but nothing connects, and the counter is good again here for UND. They find their third, get a little bit of cushion here right before the minute warning.
And this series has legs now. UND with a rough start, but a great middle of the set. We're starting to see what they can look like at full strength with Mogi operating the offense definitely as the sharpest tool in the shed, but plenty of tools to go around. Everyone's contributing, though. GCU still strong as ever. I think they've maintained a good level that UND is starting to surpass at times, but right there, getting one back at the very least with a good bit of possession, though their speed is being matched by Mogi there in the midfield, and they're trying to use demos to make up for that, but everyone having each other's back on the UND back line is leading to a lot more saves than we saw earlier in this set.
Feels a lot like the game 2 where UND started to wake up a little bit. They got the tech issue resolved and then were able to find their way through. And we do have a final 35-second Rule 1 with Nando on that back wall, I believe with Mogi. And they're going to have to just play this one out. 30 seconds on the clock, see what happens in the 2v2. NECC, anything can happen here. Best of 7, 2v2 now. 3-2, the scoreline still for UND. Flip reset for Bean Boy. It will be a great save and a little bit of a 50-50, but Bean Boy coming out of net will find the equalizer. And a little bit of a goofy play, but it does go the way of GCU, and we're right back to where we were last game.
I'm as big an advocate of following Rule 1 as anybody, but Mogi getting caught up right there on the back wall could be actually what shapes this series, genuinely. Losing your best player if you're UND in a 2v2 that you end up losing. You know, it's a small moment in a long series, but could be impactful if GCU find a way to win game 4 and take that triple match point they would get for winning 3 of the first 4 games. But another overtime. We know what happened in the last one with UND capping off a spectacular comeback with a win in the last game in this series. With the center ball now, they could do that here. Carve Dog shy of being on frame with that ball, and now Mogi, the lone player in defense, has to make good contact and does so.
A little bit of ping pong there at the midfield line, and Nando will go ahead and try to take control, but Mogi, another quick go by them. Gonna lead to maybe an opportunity downfield. Another dunk from the brick wall. Pre-jump play from Nightmare Rally. Try to get it back down to Bean Boy. B over 1. A good pop high, and Nando has to try to reach for it. Brick wall gets it down to Mogi. Mogi gets a bump, turns this one into a 1v1. Musty on target. Bean Boy to save. And already an electric opening 45 seconds here to overtime, but now the counter's on for GCU. Bean Boy tries to return fire with a musty of their own. Soft shot will be defended by Mogi. 2 go, and off the recovery, he finds another right now. Mogi trying to put the team on his back here in overtime and put this one back to equal in the series.
Mogi again is alone. Nando found a clean win at the midfield line, and now Carve Dog's been taken out, but Mogi, the one-man wrecking crew in defense, demolishes that GCU attack, but a quick turnaround the other way results in the overtime going to the other side of the pitch. Nando wins it for GCU after the ball leaks middle, and Carve Dog couldn't cover the far side of the net. GCU lead 3-1.
Just the classic, you trust your teammate on that 50-50. The challenges have started to go your way, you know, rightfully so. You think to yourself, man, my teammate's probably going to get a good touch on this one. I'm going to creep out just a little bit outside of box. Next thing you know, it's over your head going opposite post. And that is how the cookie crumbles. 3-1 now for GCU. And real quick, 7 saves and 1 K for Mogi. He really was trying to do everything within his power to win that game and not of the series.
Yeah, I mean, dropping 1,000 points in a loss has to hurt a little bit, and we'll see if it affects the mental at all. Well, I mean, we'll get some glimmers of whether it could be affecting the mental at all. But this is a good chance for UND to show what they're made of. Down by 3 games now in this best of 7 to open up NECC play, and they've lost in heartbreaking fashion. But if they can collect themselves, which they did at the start of this set, and have shown an ability to do all throughout this series when going down early, then they're not out of the GCU isn't out of the woods just yet. But 20 seconds in, it is early pressure for GCU now turned into UND attacking, and Nando at the midfield line will put an end to that quite quickly. Back and forth we go.
Nightmare Rally gonna play a little patient. Ball goes behind him, so they go for the bump, make Mogi go a little late to that ball. Carve Dog gonna be bumped, but still fine. Nice flick. They've not been where they wanted to place it, but does keep it in the orange side of the pitch for at least a moment. Clear out will be received by Bean Boy, centering ball. Nando late to the ball, will find a 50-50 out to the brick wall, and a big booming clear downfield alleviates a little bit of that pressure starting to mount here for GCU. Minute in, both teams, again, I feel like they both know what's at stake here. They both don't want to get caught out making any bad mistakes. Playing some feeler ball right now, but a good transition downfield. And who else but Bean Boy, the man who seemingly has a shot for every setup, will go ahead and score first here for GCU.
And that 50 of Nightmare Rallies there, right in the middle of the blue box, was perfect. Keep it up on an undefended backboard, center for an easy tap in from the teammates, and now you get another goal to add to it. This one has to sting. UND come out with a little bit of early possession. They look good, but Grand Canyon nabbed the first 2 goals quite quickly, I might add, and it could be a third now if Nando can work through the corner. But Mogi does field and can now at least stem the bleeding just a little bit with a good play up front.
Not going to count them out quite yet here. I believe this is the exact same setup we had for that 4-3 overtime win for UND. It was 2-0, and then they started to come back. Things look tragic, but now a little bit of a different story. 3-0 in just about the opening minute, and GCU, I think, are ready to put this one to bed.
And this is one of those instances where we're seeing the effects of a hot start benefiting GCU. UND look so much better. I mean, Game 3 and beyond, especially, completely different team than what we saw to start this series off. And you know, if those first 2 games didn't count, then we're probably going all 7. But right now, GCU are having a very, very good beginning to Game 5, and North Dakota will at least put a Band-Aid on the wound with a single goal here from Mogi, striker from the midfield line. And so, with 3 minutes left, you can't count them out, but there is still a long ways to climb back if you're North Dakota.
Yeah, not just in the scoring department, but just it feels like we're again back to Game 1, Game 2 GCU, where the corner, the backboard, the 50s all just seem free. It looks like they are just able to outperform and get these touches a little bit quicker than the defense for UND. It might be fatigue for trying to go all out these last 2 games, trying to get the series knotted up. who knows what the mentality. Oh, what a sidewall skin from Nightmare Rally. Totally derailed what I was talking about, but yeah, it just seems like free play right now for these teams, and Nightmare Rally showing why.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have games in series like this where your opponent just straight up outplays you. And I think we've seen that. Well, I don't think we've completely seen that from North Dakota where they had a blowout win, but we're now seeing that from GCU, and that's why you want to make sure you start out at an even footing with your opponent, because if those first 2 games don't count and it's a close set, then yeah, you know, GCU completely outplay North Dakota for a game, but it doesn't shape the series like this one is looking like it's going to. And so that's really helping GCU right now, coming out of the gates, really swinging. 10 goals in game 1 with some tech difficulties on the other side, but still very good play that continued into game 2. Their challenge game was on point, and now here in game 5, they are back to very much outplaying North Dakota out in front here. Nightmare Rally's getting back in on the action.
Yeah, Bean Boy pops, gets called off the ball, and a little bit of a delay from Nightmare Rally gets the back line all types of discombobulated on the side of UND. And yeah, I mean, it's tough to look at this series, but it just also goes to show how important it is when you're in these best of 7s and you're going up against a team that is of a caliber like GCU, and you're trying to punch up a little bit in that weight class. You gotta split the opening 4. If it goes any other way, other than if you're somehow able to sweep them or grab the 3-1 lead yourself, you have to get those opening 2, because it makes that game 5 so much more difficult to go your way.
Well, with 100 seconds left, this feels like a bit of a victory lap for Grand Canyon. So I'm going to start looking at results elsewhere in NECC's Division 1 and Division 2 at the moment. We got a Division 1 result. Bruton Parker have 4-2'd at Cleveland State. That's a revenge match for the Barons of Bruton Parker. Lost to CSU to qualify Cleveland State for Division 1 in that promo tournament last week. That was a 3-1 in favor of the Vikings. Now Bruton Parker winning the best of 7. We got Fisher College, Indiana Tech competing right now against each other. That really should be a banger. The runners-up of Division 1 last semester in Indiana Tech versus the new look all-import Fisher College roster. And then in Division 2, nothing in yet in the East groups, but this just in, Somber. San Diego State have gone down. 4-0 win for Southeastern Oklahoma State, and San Diego State was playing with their sub Hijack in place of Sean B, but still a 4-0 win for Southeastern Oklahoma State.
Yeah, the asterisks with the sub, I feel like even with a 4-0, it's a very small asterisk. A team like SDSU, when you have 2 players like 5 stars and Zap, you should be at least grabbing a game. That's a pretty tremendous win to kick off NECC for SE.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about Southeastern Oklahoma State. I don't think it necessarily says a lot about San Diego State playing with a sub, but SC are coming to play this semester, and I'm excited to watch their development throughout the spring. But looks like our victory lap here is just about complete. One more toot of the horn for Nando here. 7th goal here in game 5, and we should get a quick interview with at least one of the members of GCU if this game ever ends, which it may never. But I'll start the proceedings of getting them into the server to get a quick interview. We'll probably abridge it a little bit because we got Kennesaw State, Akron Gold coming up next, probably waiting on us a little bit at the top of the hour. But Somber, GCU came to play tonight.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think that UND came to play as well. They showed that they do have a dog in this fight. I thought that this was going to be a lot more of a 3-1 here, 4-1 there, maybe a 4-2. I thought that it was going to be a lot more of a wash here for UND, just knowing the type of team and the amount of pressure that a team like GCU puts on. I thought that was going to be a lot more favorable for them, but going to 5 and making almost all but that Tech game go to OT or be by 1 goal puts a lot of stock into this UND team for me.
Well, they are going to be must-watch Rocket League, I think, at the Division 2 level. I think when everybody is playing their roles perfectly, like Mogi was phenomenal up front, and when Carved Dog and the Brick Wall were playing around that perfectly, then it was a great, fun-to-watch attack. But GCU, consistent attack all throughout the series. We got Bean Boy joining us in the booth for a quick interview. Bean Boy, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good.
All right. Hey, congrats on the win. Starting NECC off with a bang there. And first question I got for you. I mean, that was a great start for you guys, 10-1, but then UND started hitting back a little bit. How'd you guys sort of settle in to the end of that series and close things out?
Yeah, I think we just had to realize that they're making strong cuts on our second and third men and just beating them completely and then leaving us in a 1v1 situation. So we tried to minimize that in the later half of the series and close it out.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had you guys sweating a little bit. Did you do anything, any research into this UND team? Are they a familiar opponent at all, or was this kind of just going in blind and seeing what they were made out of?
Yeah, we went completely blind, honestly. I've never played them before, and I'm familiar with NECC and other tournaments, and yeah, I've just never played them before. So honestly, props to them. They played pretty well.
Yeah, they felt like they made you sweat at least a little bit. Do you guys feel like this is kind of your standard level of play, or do you think that you guys are going to be able to reach some new heights throughout this season of NECC?
Yeah, I'm hoping to reach new heights. I think we finished 4th in playoffs last season for Central West, and I'm hoping to always go further than that. So I think that's the goal right now. Maybe take a win. We'll see.
You guys got the chemistry together now, several semesters playing around each other. Talk about you and your teammates, the kind of connection that you guys have built up over at GCU. Because I mean, you've been slowly, I think, getting stronger throughout the semesters. I was glad to get to meet you guys at CECC last year, and now rocking a similar lineup. What kind of heights can you reach this semester with the chemistry that you guys have built up there?
Yeah, honestly, our chemistry is really strong. I've known both of these guys for 4 years. Nando and I have been at GCU together at the same time, so freshman to senior. And although we weren't on the same team right away, I improved in the last 2 years we've been playing together. But even the year before I was on the main team, I was playing with Nightmare on our B team. And I've played with both of them at least for a year already. And so having the first semester was also just great warm-up to get our chemistry together. And yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to be back with the team playing again. I think this was our first tournament that we've played in this semester.
All right.
Like first match. So yeah, stoked for it.
Well, it was fun to get to watch you guys. You performed really well tonight, Bean Boy. Glad to hear from you as well. Congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys have a good night.
You too. All right, Somber, I got to kick you out pretty quickly, but you want to lay down a prediction for Akron Gold and Kennesaw State before you leave?
Is this still this is Kennesaw B or Kennesaw Premier? Because
Kennesaw Premier. It's the A team.
Okay, and is Dylan still playing in for Flitz?
Nope,
or was that
full
just for SEL?
Starting lineup tonight.
Okay. Give me Akron in 6.
Okay, I like it. Somber's calling Akron in 6. Taquito will be on the call with me here, but that's coming up next. 4 minutes time. We start at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Somber, thanks for joining me for UND GCU. The rest of you lot, I'll see you here in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back, everybody. We got Kennesaw State and Akron Gold already yapping away in in-game chat. We got Taquito as well, about to be yapping away in the booth. Second straight night I get to cast with you, Taquito. It feels good to be back, my man. And we got a premier matchup in front of us tonight. How you feeling?
This is probably one of the more exciting teams that are like more exciting matchups I've been looking forward to. Obviously with the move from Patty down to gold, up with Melio. We were just talking about it with me and Somber before he left the call. It's a lateral move that kind of adds very similar elements to the team that was already there for the respective teams that they played for.
Yep.
So I'm kind of interested to see what level of what am I looking for here? Efficiency that Patty brings to the gold team, knowing that like Oxy has a lot of good mechs and Jonathan is just Jonathan. He can be an absolute rat on the pitch, but you're facing off against Kennesaw Premier, Bepic, a team that is incredibly good in the CRL space.
Yeah, there's an example already kicking us off with a bang. Kronovi and Flitz together in the midfield, tearing up Akron Gold. Couple of demos from TNT to spread the zips thin, but man, what an opener from the Owls. KSU came to play tonight.
That just felt so, I'm not even gonna say like lackadaisical, but that pass was just kind of like, yeah, okay, Kronovi, you deal with this real quick. Let's open up the game as we should. What a start from the Owls, but of course, quick is Akron to get the pressure built up. Oxy trying to set up Patty there in that moment. It's gonna be kind of a awkward defense in the mid. Jonathan tries to get in the way of TNT or maybe vice versa. Might have a play here off the back wall. Oxy not in the best position. But that Akron pressure being built right before our eyes.
They look good. They played last week on this stream last Tuesday against Syracuse, and the Orange looked phenomenal. I'll start out by saying that. It was a 4-1 in their favor, but Akron Gold still looked pretty good against that Syracuse team, and you would expect that. I mean, Patty being bumped down to the B team, I think, is a move that's, at the moment, is an upgrade for both gold and blue on the Akron side, and it'll continue to get better as the semester moves along, but at the moment not finding a ton of footing in that offensive zone. KSU are defending nicely and could find a second now with Flitz and Kronovi still attacking hard in the offensive zone, but TNT centering now for Flitz, who is the guy that gets the assist. KSU lead by a pair.
You know, one thing that I missed from last year, especially when we got to see it live at Scenic City, was TNT's ability to quite literally put his namesake into the pitch and blow everybody away. Because the amount of demos he's racked up so far has just been incredible. Oxy looking for an attempt on Flitz right there, using all of his boost to play the best defense possible. Patty trying to sneak under Kronovi. Oh, that's not the touch that Crow probably wanted, but still the Owls deal with it well. For the time being, back to the mid, they get a chance to poke at the defense of Akron and see if they can open up another lane. Like you said, they've got a pair to open us up with the first 2 minutes of regulation.
And they're looking for more now. I mean, 2 minutes, it's a hot start for KSU. There is time left for Akron Gold to get back in this series, and we know their comeback potential. We got very familiar with 2/3 of this team, with Melio in the starting lineup in the fall, with their LAN performances at BBB, at DreamHack Atlanta, with their online performances too. But right now, this Akron Gold team is having it taken to them by Kennesaw State, starting out the spring with several bangs now. Not just the one to start us out, but now 2 more to add to a stark lead. Akron Gold need to find a way to stop this potent Owl attack right now, which has netted 3 goals.
I feel like a team kind of like Kennesaw, and this is a saying that goes for Akron Blue, you know, or I mean Gold in this case, but Akron in general, the program. It's a team that truly feels like they are at the top end of the CRL competition. Oxy is so awkward on that defensive line, needs help from Jan. They do get the ball to the corner, but it's Flitz immediately rotating around, keeping everyone discombobulated right there at the front post. Somehow, though, Akron at least see the ball away. They're trying to get it away from the penalty box. They're having quite the amount of trouble. Patty throws one down the pitch, and it's in. Welcome to the game. Akron zips gold.
Yeah, nice to see you, Akron. Patty versus TNT in the midfield, and he wins that ball cleanly. So that's a bit of a band-aid for Akron Gold to stop the bleeding here. Make game 1 manageable again, because down by 3 in the last minute, probably not coming back against the composure of Kennesaw State. But down by 2, suddenly doable at most stages of this game. They will certainly need to generate more of a presence in that orange zone. They haven't, I don't think, stressed Kennesaw State's defense very much, if at all, and so that'll have to change if they're going to complete this comeback. But that is a nice start. Patty picking one up in a bit of an easy fashion with just a 50-50 win at the midfield against the third man.
Yeah, they're trying to play out of this corner too. They need at least a little more than that, but the boost totals on the side of Akron Gold aren't exactly the best. They're looking a little waning, but 2 members gassed up in the back. They are Oxy and Jonathan trying to find themselves a nice touch out. Unfortunately, aren't able to find the best one. They have to play quite a lot of defense versus this Kennesaw roster. They have just looked absolutely dominant in field possession.
Yeah, it's looking strong. I got the exact numbers as well. Field domination, actually 55-45. So shout out Akron Gold for at least keeping the ball in the midfield third. I don't know how much we've actually played in that offensive third of the Zips closer to the orange net, but they've at least disallowed Kennesaw State's full midfield control, which I'm sure is the preferred game plan, where they're playing offense constantly. But the offense that we have seen from the Owls has been very strong, especially in transition, though in defense now, TNT has to make a good read, does so with the rebound, results in a perfect shot from Patty, and don't look now, but the Zips really are online.
Hey, like I just told Somber, and I'll say it here live on the broadcast, this is a team I will never count out, regardless if it's blue or gold. These guys over at Akron just have some type of dog in them, and they're able to come back with a lot of crazy things. And of course, what better way than to bring it up when they get scored on by a kickoff goal with 41 seconds left?
Yeah, that one hurts a little bit. Just an improper cheat there. Didn't have the right read on where that ball was going to be sat after the face-off. Kennesaw State did, though, and that'll be 4-2 now. The job just got a little bit more difficult for Akron Gold. These are best of 7 if you're unfamiliar with the NECC format, so a game 1 loss is not the end of the world, but it is certainly still a game that you want to grab, which Kennesaw State off the back of a hot start seem to be doing. 5-2 now. I think the Owls have secured themselves game 1.
I am just impressed that Kronovi's shot, every time that he's put one on the net, have you noticed how it's directly underneath the crossbar? I mean, it's almost like perfectly placed. This guy is incredible when he's locked in on offense, and that's something we love to see, especially rocking that season 1 grand champion or championship tag. That's another thing, man. I'll never get tired of it. I'll never get tired seeing him rock that tag in Rocket League. It's such a cool thing. But
yeah,
the Owls have been entirely dominant in game number 1. I think that goes without saying. Although the Zips did wake up about the middle of that game, it felt like it was a little too late to get started.
Yeah, which is good to build into game 2 with, but man, hat trick for Kronovi. TNT and Flitz are still above him on the scoreboard. That tells you something about the full team contributions there in game 1. But yeah, I think this young Kronovi kid over at Kennesaw State's going to be something special. He was involved in pretty much everything, it felt like, in that Kennesaw State attack, but as was everyone else. And Akron Gold got punched in the mouth pretty early on, so they stood fighting until the very end there, but that kickoff goal to make it 4-2 after Akron Gold had found their second, I think is really what sealed the deal. So we'll see how they look to generate more offense going into game 2, but Patty's shooting lights out so far, and I think that's a sign that bodes well for the Zips.
I think it does too. Getting Oxy a little bit more involved on the offense would also be pretty good. I mean, I know you and I both know the mechanical prowess of that kid. He is absolutely crazy when you give him space on the ball. Jonathan doing just about exactly what I expect him, being the facilitator, playing the mid, getting the assists and saves as much as he can. So we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see just a little bit more from Akron in this game too. I like how you said that that kid Kronovi is gonna be something. Shout out Kennesaw State for giving such a young gun a chance. You know what I'm saying? Really putting him on in the CRL scene.
Yeah, he deserves a shot. I mean, playing against known stars like Flitz and TNT, it's got to mean the world to him. And here's one of those stars on the ball right now. TNT starting us off 9 seconds in. Your favorite CRL's player's favorite CRL player, TNT. He's really delivering a highlight reel play.
Absolutely. This has been, again, this is just well, okay.
Pause.
I guess we need to pause.
Apparently Jonathan's invisible for Kronovi. Cool. Well, that is going to be a reset. Oh man, I've got the logo up in front of the chats, and so I don't know if people could see that, so I'll read it out. But Flitz said reset. We're keeping that goal though, and Oxy has countered saying no goal if we do reset the lobby. But Kronovi's getting back in, and we're gonna see if Jonathan can be seen. But either way, I'm not an NECC admin, so I'll let the players handle this or make a ticket or whatever they have to do. But still, great play for TNT. Everybody looks on point for KSU. I am so excited if this is the level that we get from Kennesaw State, especially now that league play is 16 teams again.
And that I think has been my favorite update. The 16 team. Okay, so they didn't remake the lobby.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. But anyways, what I was saying, my favorite update so far has been the 16-team league play. I think having 8 teams the way we did last time felt a little, I don't know. I don't think that it felt like there was too much there for all the competition that we had. We saw exactly how many teams were really fighting for that top 8. There was a couple that fell down. I mean, I know you remember the run that Cumberland had that pushed them up to rank number 2, and then unfortunately they fell all the way back down out of the top 10, out of the top 8. That one hurt to see. So again, and then I think Kennesaw land somewhere around like 14 or 15 by the end of everything. It just, these guys are very, very strong competitors, and if we can get all of them in one big tournament at the end, that's all I want to see for CRL.
I mean, Kennesaw, I think they did peak around that 13-14 area of the rankings, but they had a bad end of the fall. I mean, that weekend at DreamHack where they went out pretty early on in the lower brackets after being upset, I think, by Leslie, if I remember correctly, and then they play the closed qualifier in CRL that same day and go out as well pretty early on in lowers. That was an end I don't think was befitting of the first semester of Kronovi alongside TNT and Flitz. So hopefully they can find a way back here in the spring semester, collect themselves more, and with the extra leeway that you get with the 16-team league play, I'm hoping that these guys can grind out an even better semester here in the second time around.
Yeah, I definitely want to see the increase in play. Flitz goes off the back wall. Oh, and TNT's not there in time. That skimmer clears all the way back to the back wall. That's really good for Akron Gold here in this moment. Jonathan gets dusted on that challenge. Kronovi just needs a touch. He can't get it, unfortunately. Goes for the bump, and 2 commit on it to get it to the corner, but the Zips are able to turn it the other direction.
Crow on the ball again. Won't get a second chance at that wonky solo play that he almost made work there to make a second goal for Kennesaw State. Instead, Akron Gold, they've got chances at possession here, but not easy ones. Oxy, an empty boost tank, has to watch now as Patty jumps in front of him, and now Oxy loses his life. TNT's bumping Jonathan out of the way, and Crow gets around the ball for a corner shot to double Kennesaw State's lead. It's another multi-goal advantage early on in a game for the Owls.
Yeah, these guys, I like this trio a lot, and like you mentioned and brought up, it was a rough end at the end of fall for Kennesaw. Jonathan going over 1, tries to help with 2, and Oxy on the back wall, but can't get bumped off the play is the Kennesaw defender. Patty now a chance, could find Oxy. He actually opted for a little doomsy dish. Can't find the touch himself. Big clear down. Kronovi is up, denied by Oxy, so Akron will march down once more. Patty gets around Flitz, needs to get around TNT. That can't happen. Good bump from Jonathan, and maybe we see Akron build some pressure here if they can get a chance on the ball.
Ooh, that was a chance. Oxy 50ing a ball quickly on net, and it's resulting in a secondary opportunity now with Patty up ahead, but he can't make contact with Flitz, and that could have been a shot for a low boost Oxy, who was hanging around sensing a little bit of blood in the water, though. Doesn't end up being a feast or anything like that for Akron Gold, as it's still kind of famine. Outside of the 2-goal run they had in game 1, they're still looking to score their first here, but finally Akron will break that silence. Jonathan redirects the ball on target that pulls TNT out of the play. Oxy and Jonathan both sweep the line, and that's enough wiggle room for Patty to make it work.
I am surprised Flitz didn't get back in time. I thought he was actually going to be there. I saw him sweeping the back post right there at the last second. Unfortunate for the Owls giving that one up, so they cut the lead in half. Oxy is very awkward here. Patty picks it up, calls him off. Maybe Jonathan will decide to get involved, but with no boost, it's going to be really hard to challenge. There's a great save off the sidewall, but they're going to have to play even better defense here. And wow, Patty falling underneath the crossbar gets that one out.
Crows got boost, so Akron Gold still need to keep their heads on their shoulders in defense, and they don't. Flitz is given kind of an easy one after that was it looked like a partial misread here. Patty out in front is, I guess, expecting Flitz to be there a bit sooner for the shot, but Flitz holds off, wanted to see what Patty did, and well, to his benefits, Patty didn't do a whole lot right in front of that blue net. So 3-1 now. Kennesaw State reinstate their insurance policy.
And sometimes you got to do that. For me, it's, once every 6 months. For them, we're literally here in game number 2. They go up by 2, 3-1 the score line. About 95 seconds here on the clock, or excuse me, 105 seconds to go. Maybe we'll see something here from Akron. Patty going the wrong direction. Maybe he was opting for Oxy in that moment. They were trying to set up something in the mid, but they give over possession once more to the Owls. Maybe we see TNT with a little foot reset. He fakes, and he's unable to actually get the scoop play on it, but they keep the ball in the blue, and maybe they'll find a fourth.
Now it's Crow's turn. TNT and Flitz both tried their hand at solo plays, but that doesn't pan out. TNT taps the ball into the corner, but has Oxy and Patty to deal with. And that pair of Akron Gold players still isn't enough to deter Kennesaw State from this blue end. Flitz going high with that ball, setting Crow up for a shot, but it's just possession play out of KSU at the moment, and it's working out. They are winding the Zips apart, and now Flitz is messing around. No. He's not taking the one-time shot. Instead, he lets the ball sit on his head, and he carries it in slowly, really plunging the dagger into Akron Gold.
Yeah, that one's rough. You hate to see it if you're a Zips fan. Oxy couldn't really do much in the corner there, so we'll have to try to reset once more. And man, Oxy is getting bullied. I will have to say it. He is just getting absolutely bullied on the pitch from these guys, and maybe it's getting caught out in position. Maybe it's just the way Kennesaw are rotating, and that's just the prowess they have on the pitch, or maybe the respect that they command over one. Jonathan will have to clear, and that's about all he's got. Back to the mid. Touch from Flitz. It's not the redirect that he was looking for, but still something more to keep the pressure up here in the blue.
The pressure hasn't stopped. Akron Gold haven't found a clear in what feels like 2 minutes of full gameplay, and Oxy will break the ball free, but he's got no boost. He can't do much with it. Actually, a pretty solid 50-50, all things considered, but it doesn't matter. Game 2 is over. That TNT goal that we saw in the fake start to Game 2 didn't even count, and I don't think, I didn't even think about that until the very end of this game, because Kennesaw State didn't blink after having the goal erased, and 4-1. I mean, they don't let Akron shoot more than 4 times, putting up 11 of their own. This is dominant from Kennesaw. I was expecting a lot more from Akron Gold.
Again, first 2 games, we still have a best of 7. Right now, Bepic, it could be a long series, but like you said, with the numbers you just presented with us, that is the makings of a very short series. You're getting outscored, what is it, 11-3?
9-3. Wasn't it 5 goals in game 1?
Yeah, so 9-3. You're basically up. You're getting outscored by a multiplicative of 3 by your opponent. This is tough, man.
Yeah, and right now in the lobby, Patty and Oxy are holding off on readying up. I'm sure the guys chatting a little bit about what they need to be doing a bit differently, because Kennesaw State are dominating the midfield line, which is leading to a lot of quality opportunities, and it's not the same. They really are mixing it up. We saw a lot of demos early on in Game 1. Now in Game 2, they're playing it a lot more into space, a lot of solo play, heavy possessions as well, and Akron Gold can't keep up at the moment. When they do find clears, it's with a player out in front that has no boost, has to really stretch just to get contact on the ball, and that allows Kennesaw State to get more favorable 50-50s, and so once on their goal line, they're only there for a moment in transition because they're already setting up the next counterattack. So Game 3 has to be different for Akron Gold, otherwise this is a commanding victory for KSU. But Patty's on the ball early on, and maybe he can be the one starting us off hot after it was Kennesaw State the last 2 games.
Oh, and Jonathan trying to set something up there off the back wall. Had to use all of his boost. Oxy is incredibly awkward. Goes for a bit of shadow defense. It looks like, oh, he's off the side, but that's all right. Shot is wide. No follow through for Akron. They may get a chance to really create something here. Patty trying to play bully ball on the back wall. Oxy cheated up way too far, but Crow finally misses his first shot, I think, on an open net this series.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Just couldn't get around it in time to score the opener, but Akron Gold with possession and still giving up scary opportunities to KSU, but this is a scary opportunity of their own. Jonathan firing away on that orange net. Flitz does get back, but exhausts his boost total, so he does have to refuel. And in the meantime, TNT across the midfield line will intervene with that Akron Gold counter, but not enough. Jonathan had a shot right there, so maybe tit for tat, a miss for a miss.
That's tough, too. Jonathan's goal was wide open. That's a good challenge for Jonathan. Oh, no. The Akron Gold defense just couldn't get back in time. I like this challenge. I actually respect it a lot. Jonathan trying to save his teammates in that moment, but no one there to make that extra defense to get the clear out. That's going to be the first goal over to Kennesaw yet again.
Yeah, he's just outdone by Flitz right there. Flitz playing for Kronovi, who we knew was behind him, letting that ball drop just a little bit towards the top of his car and forcing the light 50-50 win for Jonathan. Good contact, yeah, if you had supports, and Kronovi doesn't get to the play first, but still, Kennesaw State with the opener again. 3 straight games, I guess kind of 4 if you want to count the fake game too we saw, where they score first. That has been a trend that Akron Gold need to find a way to buck, and early possession I thought might do it, but they can't convert.
That's been their biggest thing, I think, is putting the finishing touch on a lot of these opportunities, and unfortunately for them, they haven't been able to find it. The finesse is what needs to kind of be added, or the flair, if you will, to their offensive plays. Oxy tried to get up in front of Flitz, but Flitz controlled play. Will find the ball into the blue. Maybe Oxy will find a shot on target. It's high. Crossbar denies. Down and out, and Akron still are going to want that one back.
They get a second chance at the very least, but Flitz can gain so much space on the ball by himself, even with a half a tank of boost. Gets to the backboard of Akron Gold, and TNT follows up with a 50-50 win. In the corner, he is slowed by Patty, but Oxy's up in the back of the play. You can see how jumpy the Zips are in their defensive rotations, and it's still not enough. Kennesaw State score again, make it 2.
Maybe I'm just reading this wrong, or maybe I'm being a little more hopeful for Akron than I should be, but this does not feel like the team that we expected. You mentioned that last game. This just feels, I don't know if they're lackluster is the word, or maybe it's just Kennesaw and their dominance, and that's what they show on the pitch, and that's kind of like a look at what we have to expect for CRL the rest of the semester. But they are putting belt right now to the Gold team here on their opponents.
I think it's a combination of Kennesaw State just completely outplaying Akron in that blue end, and Akron Gold not converting on opportunities that they get in offense. Patty, I think, is the only goal scorer for Akron Gold, because he scored the 2 in Game 1 and then the lone one in Game 2, and here they're scoreless. So they've I mean, Jonathan's had a couple of chances to score here in Game 3, but missed on them, and Oxy's been limited as well. So they've done well to set each other up for success, but the striking hasn't been super clean. But defensively, I think is where a lot of their problems are, because KSU are throwing so many looks at this Akron Gold team that maybe it's a fact of just being in the early stages of the Patty infused Akron Gold, but they just don't look clean. But at least they're finding ways to keep themselves relevant with goals like this.
Yeah, well, you said that Patty was the only one scoring, and he's keeping that trend alive, putting that goal in for Akron Gold. Hopefully they will find themselves at least another one here, and they'll actually test the defense of Kennesaw. Jan goes up. He can't get that second touch off the back wall that he was looking for. Oxy just a little too late. Dusted by Kronovi, but Patty's there in time to defend. Touch from TNT, gets the flip reset, but has to use it immediately to continue to pressure the defense more. Kronovi to the corner. Let's see if he gets something off the wall here. Maybe leaves it for a teammate. Nah, that one will go by the wayside, but they still hang out in the blue for a little bit longer.
And that will waste precious seconds that Akron Gold need to be using to score here. We all know that you don't want to go down by 3 in a best-of-7 series, and Akron Gold may not have much of a choice. If they can't break away, they may not have much of a choice if TNT is allowed off the leash in front of the Zips net. Kronovi sets him up with a perfect pass, pressures Oxy. If Oxy's low, he hangs high and is still out-challenged by TNT. It's another multi-goal lead late for KSU. 5 goals in game 1, 4 in game 2, and now they could make it 4 to blow out Akron Gold again.
It's just an insane stat. Obviously, you see Dylan in the chat there. He's excited about this one, seeing his peers in the premier roster playing this well. And oh, wow, what a pass. Central defense thought they were good, and Flitz says, you are never going to be good while I'm on the pitch. What a dagger to put on game 3.
Yeah, that one I don't know how you stop. 50-50 out center, and Flitz is just right there with speed to the scene that you can't counter if you're not expecting that 50-50 to move out center. 4-1. Kennesaw State are really destroying the team that I had it at number 17 coming into this season. At Kennesaw State, I had it number 19 after their rough end to fall. And so, yeah, 3-0 at the moment. KSU starting to make a name, or make a claim rather, that they should be climbing up the rankings rather quickly here in February.
Yeah, they absolutely are, man. This is they look so much better than the end of last semester in their fall performance. So whatever has been worked on over this Christmas break into the beginning of the spring, I am liking what I'm seeing from KSU.
Yeah, their offense looks so good. I am astounded at how dynamic it is. I think it's to be expected with creative minds like Crow, Flitz, and TNT on the pitch, with all the chemistry that they've built up in the fall, and then for Flitz and TNT for the last several years of playing with each other. And this feels like the final version of this Kennesaw State offense, and it's February 4th in a season that will be lasting almost exactly 3 more months with the CRL championships and CECC's championship Sunday on May 3rd. And so 3 months ahead of us, and Kennesaw State already look like they're in mid-season form, but still do need to close this out. 1 more game win necessary, and they got comeback potential. We got to see that pretty soon here.
I think we need to see that yesterday at the speed they're moving, Bepic. This is tough. We've got to see them show out and show up in game number 3. Challenge off the mid. We'll get kickoff going. This looks like it's going to be in favor of the Owls. It barely sneaks over to the blue. TNT up quickly. Tries to get a good touch to set up a teammate, but defended well for now. But this is not the trend that we like seeing Akron Gold in. They continue to play defense, and then they just don't ever stop when KSU gets the possession of the ball. So we got to see them break out of their own half and maybe really test their opponent in this game.
Oh, Patty thought Kronovi was going to stick with that, and so he stalls out just a little bit, but still delivers Oxy. A nice potential assist, though. Kronovi hangs on the backboard, patient as ever, finds a stop, and needs to find another one. If not, Oxy scores the opener. That's what happens. A slow roller, 26 miles per hour, but it's someone other than Patty making a play happen in the Akron Gold offensive zone. Oxy and Jonathan together open us up.
That is, it's funny watching slow goals go in like that, because you literally are sitting there and you're watching everybody fight for it, and then no one can do anything about it, so it just becomes inevitable. Patty, a chance here, needs to be TNT, has the flip reset, but that's better defense right there from the Kennesaw player himself. Maybe we'll see something from Flitz. He gets one touch, can't get another, but back up in the air he goes, trying to pressure that player right in front of him for the 50. Their 50 doesn't go the way they want, but still, Kennesaw somehow end up back in the defensive zone of Akron Gold.
It's a nice clear. Had the potential to be a strong counterattack for Akron Gold there. Two players up ahead looking to connect with a pass, but KSU get in the way, and so we see the ramifications of that now with the Zips stuck on their back line. But Jonathan will unstick the trio and actually connect the pass that could have been a couple seconds earlier, though. Results in a shot that is saved by Kennesaw State, and the Owls counterattack almost hits even harder on the other end of the pitch. Oxy now a little bit awkward. Jonathan, as a result of that, in a strange position too, but the boys make it work, and the Zips are looking much stronger in Game 4 than they have previously in this series.
Well, that's because they need this one, Bepic. They have to get a game here if they want this series to continue. Otherwise, it does end very quickly. And now we see him playing with a little bit of fire. Patty's trying to find his way around the ball. Unfortunately, he can't get in a good position. Jonathan attempted to help, and now everyone's kind of caught up in the corner. Pass out mid. Oxy is there just a little late to the party, but better late than never. Gives Jonathan a chance. Bottom corner. And now something we haven't seen all series long, or excuse me, in a long time since Game 1, they've scored 2.
This is why this guy's RLCS main event caliber right there. Jonathan with a very composed air roll shot, picking his mark perfectly on the Kennesaw State far side. And they still have to defend nicely. That's been the biggest struggle for the Zips in this series, is defense. Their offense, I didn't have a ton of questions about. They were still creating good opportunities, but they have slowed the Owls' pursuit of scores very well in the first half of Game 4. Need to make it a full game, though, and here come Kennesaw. Kronovi with a flip reset play where he collects at the end of it, but Jonathan will snatch it away and set up Patty for a third. Okay, the Zips have a comfortable lead.
Now, you talked about Jonathan being the ROCS caliber player. I need to remind you, do you remember the Bean Belly Boys?
Oh, always.
The Belly Bean Boys? Yeah. This is not the only player who's that top 16 caliber. Patty was up there before, so I'm excited to see them finally feel like they're slightly more in form. And of course, okay, I was going to say, if Jonathan's not there, I'm going to eat my words once more on this broadcast live, but they get the defense out. They're having to play from that right corner, which is still kind of weak for them, I think, but they manage well. Trade of demos with Kronovi and Jonathan is good for Akron, but they still haven't managed to put the ball in the orange in a threatening position.
Is that one saved away? I'm surprised, Taquito, that you referenced the Belly Bean Boys instead of the Akron team that made RLCS a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, listen, I wanted both of them, all right? I wanted both of them, but like the Belly Bean Boys was iconic, okay?
I'm not arguing there. That's a much snappier name than Akron. I think the city should consider a name change, but we'll put a pin in that one till the next town hall meeting in Akron, Ohio. But the minute left, the Zips are doing quite well to collect themselves in this series and at least get a game on the board, make it a bit more respectable, and we could be in for the long haul here. Might have to let South Carolina and Daytona State know that I may need a late entry into their NECC series next if this one decides to go all 7, because these are experienced players on both sides of the pitch, yes, but Akron Gold, I think I trust to put together a reverse sweep bid just as much as I would Kennesaw State if this series result was flipped around.
100%. I definitely would never count out Kennesaw. It's a long clear down, and that's a beautiful touch from TNT. Yeah, Patty, not in the greatest positions. That was going to be tough defense no matter how you flip it. Either you're getting bumped by TNT and Flitz's shot is just going to go in, or TNT is going to put it that much further ahead of you. And that's exactly what happened. They get one on the board. 23 seconds left. I can see something happening here, and well, by Kronovi, you're no longer allowed to play Rocket League.
Yeah, and it results in an open net. Kennesaw State will concede a kickoff goal, and now they're, I think, feeling the results of some revenge enacted upon them by Akron Gold here. Blowout win akin to what we've seen all throughout this series, but it was KSU with the 2 4-1s earlier, 5-2 previously. Akron Gold won't score the 5th just yet, but that's all cosmetic. All it is more fuel to the fire of an Akron Gold reverse sweep bid, and it could happen. It very well could happen. That was a much improved defense on the Zips back line, but they got to do it another time and another time and another time after that if they want the win.
You're absolutely right. And before you make the statement, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if this series has legs just yet, but we'll give it a pair of feet for now. There's something to stand on here for Akron Gold. They finally got themselves a win on the board. You're still down by 2 in the series that you need to at least get back into the hopes of pushing it to Game 7. And with the first 3 games going the opposite way, this is going to be a tough task.
Yeah, we've got a series that looks like Mr. Potato Head at the moment, is what I'm hearing. Feet attached at the bottom of the body, and that's good enough for Akron. I think that's a fine start to the reverse sweep situation that they have had to put themselves in and get themselves through. But let's see how Game 5 starts. All the Kennesaw State wins started with big starts out of them. Early possession that turned into multi-goal leads in the first minute and a half, and that seems to be the death sentence that Akron Gold have to avoid if they want to take games in this series, because Kennesaw State don't need any sort of extra momentum, any extra wind behind their sails to win games here.
No, they don't. You give them more wind, or you give them a beautiful crown pinch to Flitz. Oh, no. Not how you want to start, Akron. You just showed us beautiful flashes of brilliance, and Flitz is like, that's cool. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, we got El Nino caliber wins on the pitch when Flitz is on the ball. Right there, blowing the house down with an opening goal. That was all him, and exactly what we would expect out of a Flitz solo play. Beating multiple defenders and picking his team up, and here he goes again. Reset, gives him a shot far side, but Oxy finds the save. I've seen that play a time or two, and now down the field, sets up his own solo play. Goes coast to coast.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that's what I like to see from Oxy. Beautiful pinch down, gets the corner, has the angle. No one's home, and that one's free for the taking. Akron, tie it up quickly. But again, job's not done, fellas. This is now shaping up more to what we believed that Akron Gold was going to bring into this specific game. They're actually testing KSU now. I can see them having to sweat just a little bit harder in defense to really get Akron Gold in a position to be a bit more creative, but then that happens and we go right back to what we always talk about, what's going on the Akron Gold side.
I mean, these are such difficult reads. The skim there, yes, from Kronovi right to a perfectly positioned TNT who slow plays it. It doesn't even take the one-timer. He pops it to himself and then pushes it in past the goal line. I mean, this is just great offense from Kennesaw State. It's never the same look. And that has been the biggest issue for Akron Gold, which, again, isn't so much them playing poorly in defense. It's just something they've got to sort out as the series goes along. The tendencies that may or may not be there of Kennesaw State and what they're trying to do. There are a lot of passing plays out of corners with light touches, kind of disguised potential backboard doubles on target that turn into center balls. I mean, Flitz on the ball, you need to figure out how to challenge properly, and these are all pieces of the 1,000-piece puzzle that Akron Gold have to sort out in the span of maybe a minute or two when these games start.
Yeah, it's very quick to have to crunch all these numbers and scenarios in this position, but for now, we do see them playing much better in defense, having to disrupt this Kennesaw attack. That's a good save from Jonathan. Oxy needs a little bit of help getting somebody out of the way as he's got no boost. There's Patty to come in to potentially save the day. There's a touch wide. That was great defense from KSU. Demo so important from Kronovi on Jonathan. That third waiting patiently for a pass. Oxy couldn't get the touch central for the teammates. And now we see them kind of set up a little bit more here on the Owls. They're forcing them into an awkward position back. There's Jonathan's shot, saved away by Flitz.
Patty will pop that mid, but Oxy in tow. Didn't make contact on him until it was at the side wall, and Kennesaw State had movement towards the offensive end. Now Kronovi beating Patty will leave the backboard exposed, but Jonathan does recover in time to cover it up. Akron Gold are staying relevant here. Not the first time they've been down a goal in with this sort of time left in a game, but in Kennesaw State that goes on the late game runs, not so much the Zips. And with this pressure mounting on Akron Gold's shoulders, Kennesaw State could be setting themselves up for a run, though Patty will take away that opportunity of KSU with a couple of 50 wins, and now he's got support up front. This has to be a quality look for Akron Gold. They've got to start setting up their offense for success.
And they're doing so now. Patty goes early, back wall play. He can't get it to Oxy, or Jonathan, no, excuse me. Oxy was rotating out. That's tough. They kind of got caught in an awkward position. It was a little too close to the play, and Akron have to turn this one over, but they get a chance to turn it around quickly. Maybe Oxy can get there in time, just barely gets the beat over, and they still get a chance to look in offense. Jonathan now, ground pitch, TNT's not gonna fall for that one. Get another one here from Patty, back in the middle. No one's there because it's too far away, though Akron still are continuing to build their offense ever so slowly.
TNT, minimal boost, and so he's forced to force possession over to Patty, who gets over the top of Flitz, but Kronovi hangs high and finds a nice stop at crossbar level. Clear as well. Doesn't get any boost, but Kennesaw State can start pilfering the Akron Gold end as Patty starts to begin a transition back into offense for the Zips. Minute left now, and Akron Gold need the next goal, you have to feel like, but Kennesaw State are unrelenting, always properly positioned on their goal line. One guy high, one guy low. They know what Akron Gold are trying to do, it seems like, at all times. But can they stop this Oxy shot? Well, I guess the backboard can, as Oxy sends it wide and KSU clear.
Oh, that was such a good play, too, from Oxy. Just wasn't on target. You could see him going far post for it, but couldn't find the net. But Patty, trying to get around, has a second member to beat. Flitz was hiding patiently behind the ball. They get back out central. This is the last chance they probably have to make a play here. Jan's bumped off. Someone's got to be there. They were, but it's sent away by a challenge. Your last opportunity. Ball in the air, in the mid. You need this possession.
Oxy took out Kronovi, and so KSU could be frazzled. It's a double commit. Patty's got no boost. He's the last man of Akron Gold, so that means he's got options downfield, but option number A doesn't pan out, and that's all we get to see from Akron Gold's last gasp. Kennesaw State suffocate the Zips through 5 games, and 4-1 is your final in the opening series of NECC Division 1 for Kennesaw State and Akron Gold. What a showing from the Owls.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Very, very impressed from what I see early on here in this semester for Kennesaw. It's just a good look. And obviously with what league play around the corner, or the quals for league play around the corner in like 2 weeks, right? We're just right there on the precipice of some of the more important, more meaningful matches. Not to say NECC isn't, but there's just the pressure's on. The pressure's on to immediately perform in all these other leagues. So shout out to KSU for their play tonight.
Definitely. I mean, NECC, I think definitely the most quality when you're looking at the alphabet soup leagues. But yeah, CRL is the pinnacle for everybody in the Collegiate Rocket League space, no matter what you're playing in. That's what all the players say the rankings kind of should be based the most off of. But NECC does give us quality competition, so we do thank them for that. And Kennesaw State and Akron Gold definitely delivering quality throughout that set. I mean, KSU's offense, I can't heap enough compliments on the Owls' attack all throughout that series. And so I've asked TNT if any of them are interested in an interview at the end of this set. So we'll wait to see if we get an answer there. But I'm sure these guys are pretty busy, so it's probably 50-50 whether they do or don't. But we can preview South Carolina versus Daytona State coming up after this, Taquito, if you're interested. I know you're not on the call, but that is still a pretty significant top 48 matchup between my number 31 ranked team in South Carolina and number 40 in Daytona State.
And that's the Gamecocks, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, SJT, Turnip, and Og.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's a tough team for me to vote against. I also really like USC. So Just to kind of start it off, I'll give my prediction. I do want that to go the way of USC. I think they showed a lot of promise going into the end of the fall semester with a lot of kind of the upset wins they were getting in their weekly tournaments. So I do want to see them kind of come out the spring swinging in NECC, maybe get a win in their board, but you never can count out your opponent. You got to make sure that you show up on the day. So give everybody the respect you possibly can. But yeah, Gamecocks all the way on that one.
Yeah, Daytona State have been really ramping up, though. I'm impressed with what I've seen from them so far. They took ETSU to Game 5 in SEL tier assignments and have some quality results already. And this could be their marquee win to jump up the rankings in the next colleague poll, which I think is only going to be top 30, if I remember correctly. So they may not show up, but they could very well knock South Carolina down from the top 30, depending on what the committee thinks. But Kennesaw State right now looking like a potential top 15 roster. I mean, we're looking at the early goings of this team in the spring, but that was about as clean as it gets. Because defensively, I thought they were really composed, and that was one of their weaknesses last semester from me, where they didn't have their rotations down for a full series sometimes in important matches.
Yeah, I gotta say I agree in that one. Their defense definitely lacked in critical moments. I kind of go back to SCI while I was there commentating them at that LAN. There were some key moments where they could have won a couple different series, in my opinion, and it flubbed completely due to the just crumbling of their back line. I also think kind of was it their first full year together, or was it just their first semester together?
First semester for KSU, yeah.
Oh, then yeah, okay. Then it's just first semester woes right there. They were kind of really trying to iron out all their probably strengths and weaknesses and what they needed to improve on. And sometimes you got to put that to the test while you're in a very important match. So I hate to see it, but at the same time, I didn't see any lack of stoicness on their back line in that series.
Definitely. Even when Akron Gold started to look a little bit cleaner in offense, when it wasn't just the Jonathan setup, Patty shooting show that we got in the first couple of games, KSU still stayed composed and defended very well. That was a difficult one for the Zips to figure out, and looks like it's going to be a no-go on the interview. I'm not hearing back from the KSU boys, but we'll run through some Division I results here at Taquito as they are coming in now. About everyone is playing, and stop me if you wanna hop on a result. I don't think we've got anything too shocking yet. Ole Miss swept St. Clair Gold 4-0. Fisher College did 4-1 the Tech boys at Indiana Tech, and Oklahoma Christian just confirmed a 4-1 win over Davenport.
What was that last one there?
Oklahoma Christian 4-1 over Davenport.
Okay, and is that still the same rosters on both sides?
Yep, they kept it consistent.
Okay, that's a good win for OC. I like that.
Oh wait, that's Davenport Red. Sorry about that, Davenport Red.
Oh,
I gotta remember now. We got both Davenport teams, but Concord 4-0 swept the Davenport A team, so it's even worse for the A team.
Yeah, that's not a good result. You would expect Davenport to maybe put up a game or two in a best of 7, considering their prowess last semester. And I know they had a fall off. I mean, a lot of people actually had a fall off going towards the end of the fall. So seeing Concord back on top, coming out swinging, it is what it is. That just feels like another day in the office over there for the Mountain Lions. So
yeah. Yeah, the clear top 3 in that Group B of NECC Division I all swept. Northwood 4-0'd Leslie, Concord 4-0'd Davenport, and St. Clair 4-0'd Carthage to start off their D1 campaigns. So good results in D1. Nothing too shocking. We actually have a calm night on stream for once. But that does bring us to the end of the second series of the evening. Taquito, I appreciate you joining me for that banger of a matchup between Kennesaw State and Akron Gold. Did you drop a prediction from South Carolina? I know you said they would win. Did you drop a series prediction? I've already forgotten.
No, I didn't drop a game prediction. I just want them to win.
Fair enough.
I always get game prediction wrongs, so I'm afraid to put the number on it. But I definitely think the Gamecocks are going to take that series. I'm going to send the house on that one.
All right, well, Sleeper's on the call with me for that one. We'll be back in about 10 minutes' time in preparation for Daytona State and South Carolina. Everybody, stick around just a little bit longer. We got one more series here on Wednesday Night Lights with the NECC. I'll see you there. And welcome back to the Night Lights and NECC presentation of Division 1, Division 2 NECC Rocket League. We've had some bangers so far, some 4-1s, but pretty good looking 4-1s. We'll see if South Carolina Daytona State decide to prolong this stream a little bit extra tonight. Final one of the evening. We got Sleeper in his closing position coming in to bring up the end of this broadcast. Sleeper, my man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. You know, the voice hopefully going to hold out for a little bit today, but I mean, I'm excited to watch some more Collegiate Rocket League. I'm happy that the semester is back in full swing with all of these different divisions going on and events, and I'm excited to watch some more of it.
Yeah, and this one is a great series to watch as well. It's got, as well as the rest of the NECC East B division that we're going to be watching very closely throughout this semester. It's got rankings implications. So let me pull it up one more time because we might have a second to go before this series starts. But look at that. I mean, 5 of my top 48 are in this one 8-team group of the 32 teams that compete NECC's Division 2. And they're all playing about right now, Florida and Florida Southern. We play on the NECC mainstream. That's NECC_esports. If you got the capability of watching 2 streams, definitely pull that one up at the same time as this one, because those are the 2 ranked matchups happening. While Winthrop Academy and KSUB will be playing later on tonight, and then Bruton Parker JV and UCF have already competed against each other. So this is a big evening for these teams because every single win is going to matter in this division, Sleeper. It is that stacked.
Yeah, there's just so many good teams that could qualify for that #1 spot. So any win that you're able to get at any point along the schedule is a huge win, especially against some of these higher up ranked teams. So it'll be very close. We'll see what ends up happening here. I mean, so many good teams, like you mentioned, KSUB, Winthrop, their B team, USC. There's too many good ones. It'll be hard to see who will be able to come out on top.
And we've gotten word as well from Byra in chats that Davenport Red could not pull off the upset win over Oklahoma Christian. And I mean, Byra, I don't know if that's going to make your ranking suffer too much, I'll be honest. You guys got more wins against the top 10 team than your A team did. So you got that going for you at least. Oklahoma Christian's a formidable opponent. But at Division 1, just as stacked as ever. I honestly think this might be the best set of Division 1, Division 2 competition in the NECC ever, and that's why I think NECC is the best alphabet soup league that we've got at the moment. Like I think CRL is still on top. Land quals I'd still rank pretty highly, but man, the NECC is looking like a fun league to keep an eye on this semester. I'm not even hyping them up because they let me stream their matches. This is honestly why I wanted to stream NECC's matches. So we're in for a treat tonight, and this South Carolina team had a great fall, Sleeper. Several runs to top 2, top 3 in CRL quals. They ended up winning the C3 Esports League land at the end of fall as well, and they're coming up against the Daytona State team that they may not know a ton about.
Yeah, I mean, I as well don't know too much about this Daytona State team. I'm not entirely familiar with their squad, so it'll be nice to get some firsthand experience watching them on the pitch as well, seeing how they play against a quality squad that I know at like USC and how they're able to play around them and against them.
Well, we don't have to wait much longer, I should say. Daytona State and South Carolina kicking off the 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern slot here on Wednesday Night Lights. And already SJT had a decent look at that orange net. Can't cap us off with a first 10-second goal, but Daytona State now going the other way. So South Carolina have to recover quick.
Yeah, almost starting it off right away with a bang, and USC doing a good job of keeping away this Daytona attack. Now SJT is going to try and do something in the air here. Just has to go wide of the net. Og is going to be there in support. Now Turnip has a chance on the ball, but still having a tough time getting out of that corner of the Daytona half. We'll see what they're able to do, continue to build up on that, but Daytona doing a good job so far standing on the defensive end.
Yeah, they have stood tall and now have a chance. Smooth had a couple of options there. Elected to pass towards Gio, misses contact Won't find any contact on Og with the secondary chance to make something happen in that position. And so South Carolina will find a clear by way of Turnup, whom, similar to SJT, just about a year apart, I think is a much improved player than when we saw them playing on South Carolina Garnet, the B team, as these guys made that Garnet roster a lot better than a lot of B teams at the club level of CRL. And then they got their chance in the A team slot. SJT filled Solar's shoes a couple semesters back, and Turnup fill in Cat's shoes. Big shoes to fill, but down by a goal now, and so the narrative shifts a little bit back towards Daytona State.
Yeah, Daytona, we were doing too much talking about South Carolina and their program. They wanted to put the focus back on themselves, starting the scoring off here in this series in game number 1, minute and 30 into this first game. And they've been doing a good job standing up against this USC roster. I mean, with your rankings 9 ranks behind, but I mean, they're playing those spots down there. It's very close the entire way down. You could really, it's a toss-up, I should say.
Yeah, I was streaming on Sunday. I did my top 48 rankings live with Twitch chat talking with me while I was doing it, just to have some fun and interact with the community. And Danger Taco came in when I was doing the like 33 through 48 range, and he was like, yeah, this range is so much of splitting hairs and assigning value to some results more than others. It's a bit arbitrary, but that's the fun part of rankings, in my opinion, though. This 30 through 48 range definitely is the hair splitting section. Makes you want to pull your hair out sometimes too once you post those rankings. Everyone's in your replies, but that's the fun of it. Great community conversation tool, and Daytona State could toss a wrench into my rankings if they do end up pulling off what I think is an upset at the moment, though. I think Daytona State could be underrated as a result of their lack of PR and resume built, because this is a much improved team coming into spring.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job here so far tonight, not allowing USC to really build anything on offense. Another chance there saved away, and then Solis is able to instantly bring it back out. No follow-up coming through from USC. Now have a chance on offense again, but that shot will be wide of the net. USC again looking to try and turn it around, try and get anything to go on this offensive half, but most of the time they're not even able to bring it towards the net, just trying to find a way through the corner, and Daytona State is just there to shut it down and send it back.
Yeah, DSC is really just solid at the moment. They're not doing anything really spectacular. They're just playing the fundamentals nicely. Staying at home in defense. The boost management's quite nice. That miss from Smooth, I think, will go forgiven after dumping the ball off to Sullus, letting him take over for a moment. But DSC, they're not doing a lot to outplay South Carolina in the blue end, so we're seeing just a 1-goal game heading into the final minute now. But in defense, they're not letting much up to South Carolina, but that was an open net that Turnup really should have been scoring. As I was heaping compliments on Daytona State, they probably should have conceded right there. That was a real open net.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. At the end of the day, it's still 1-0 for Daytona State. They caught a massive break there after pushing up possibly a little bit too aggressively. Now USC, they're having a little bit of concise offense here, able to stick in that offensive half, but as I say that, Smooth is able to work with Gio out the other way, almost a very quick counterattack, but USC able to get back and make a save there. Now trying to turn it around one more time off the crossbar, and SJT can't stay with it either. Still 1-0 Daytona State, 10 seconds left to go.
This is a great look off the backboard Turnup. Can't make a read. These aren't easy to make, but they're ones you would expect out of South Carolina, and they will have another opportunity on 0 seconds, but you need Turnup support, as he will pop to Og after keeping the ball alive. Now SJT's downfield running interference. That's 2 beaten, but Smooth is back to potentially save the day. Didn't make contact, and it's not a flashy hero play at the end, but the fake works. Daytona State do get out of game 1 with that narrow 1-goal win.
Yeah, I do think USC was doing a good job of really coming back into the series and playing a little bit more aggressively towards the end there. I would have liked to see that throughout the whole game, knowing what USC is capable of, but they're showing that they could be that aggressive team, but they just need to show it a little bit more here in game 2. They have a little bit of momentum head their way. They're shown that they can be on the offensive half. They just had narrow margins that really hindered them in those final moments.
And I think the NECC being a best-of-7 format benefits South Carolina because them being a pretty unsupported club team, they don't play a lot together, from what I've heard. I've heard they don't scrim a lot together, if at all. And so they, I mean, in the sense of the scope of the season, have to warm up into it. So same for this series, which is maybe why we've seen some misses, but Daytona State are still playing very well. That is a clean pass from Smooth down to Gio. Put it on the nose of his Fennec, and Daytona State will strike first again, this time a lot earlier.
I mean, Bepic, it's just in his name. He's too smooth with it, bringing it up towards that back wall and then sends it right down onto Gio's car. All he has to do is just hit it forwards right into the net. It's 1-0 Daytona State again, getting the first goal here in the game. USC looking to respond right away, though. Og, the pancake down turnip, is finally able to get a goal here for USC, and they're able to tie this one up.
Oh, it's so nice from Og. Always been the strongest front man on the South Carolina lineup since I got to meet this team for the first time about 3 years ago or so. He had just made a run almost one series away from the RLCS, and I think he's maintained a level pretty close to that all throughout his tenure at South Carolina. One of the best club players we've got in the scene, and there sets up turn up for an equalizer. But Daytona State, they want their lead right back and almost get it, but Og does get in the way, intervenes with that passing play. Now Turnip's been taken out on the other side of the pitch, though that first man challenge midfield line didn't come fast enough from DSC. So South Carolina will break out for a moment, though they are sent right back to operate their defense.
Yeah, Gio. It's a taken away by Turnip there. SJT's in the air. Has a heavy flip reset. Og looking for the follow-up off the crossbar again. This time, no follow-up is going to come from USC. Turnip taking it slowly up that side wall. We'll have it taken away by Smooth. Og keeping it in field for USC, though, keeping that offense going. Demo as well opens up a little bit of space for SJT, but it gets shut down. Now Turnip has a chance here. Shot middle of the net. Going to be saved by Solace. SJT again, a good read there. Able to dunk it further for the offense of USC. Trying to extend that play in that orange half, but now finally Daytona able to come up with some space here to break out.
And that extra flip into the ball as well. Pushing South Carolina deep into their own territory. Daytona State did very well to survive that defensive exchange. There was a double commit and a couple of goal line sweeps that they had to recover from in order to avoid conceding what was their lead earlier on in this game, and still might be a concession of their full advantage here. South Carolina very close to a second, it feels like, but Daytona State are operating within the confines of this South Carolina attack quite nicely, connecting there with Smooth and Gio, potentially finding a clear with a reset pass to Solace, and everybody is involved in clearing the zone for DSC.
USC still doing a good job on that offensive half. Turnip barred down into the net. The offensive pressure here from USC, just a little bit too much. Demo on the goal line as well. And USC, they did a very good job of keeping that ball on the offensive half, keeping the possession for themselves, even when it did get to the blue half. And eventually, they're finally able to break down that Daytona State defense and get themselves a lead here in game 2.
That was a grind, though. Daytona State put up a nice defense, but South Carolina, a crafty bunch, were able to find a way through eventually, but almost saw retaliation quickly off a possession gain from kickoff. Daytona State will have a little bit of control of the midfield line, but do relinquish it. Gio can reinstate that with a couple of beats, and let's get the ball to Sullis. That is really well done by Gio. He's had a pretty good game too so far. Almost scored a skim opener to start off the scoring here in game 2. And right there did a lot to set up now an offensive attack that has him at the forefront, but Smooth that takes over, almost triple tapped, but didn't make the read. Now it's a 2v1 the other way. SJT in front harassing Sullis. Didn't have to worry about a shot because his teammates had his back.
Yeah, Smooth coming in from behind on the recovery, doing a good job stripping the ball away from the attacker. Now trying to find a way to break through on offense, but again, USC just continuing to hound the ball into that orange half and continuing to attack the net over and over again. I mean, they're at 9 shots again, and compared to Daytona's 3. So it's really been only that opening moment for Daytona State, and since then it's been 99% USC with just ever so slightly flashes of Daytona coming through on offense. So I'm surprised the fact that it's only a 1-goal game to this point, just based on that alone. But that just is also credit to that Daytona defense holding strong for the most part. They just got to do a little bit better job turning it into some more offense and finding a way to go to the net against USC here in the coming games. Oh, almost had a 0-second goal there, in fact.
Yeah, that's about as close as it gets with no contact made. I mean, Og whiffed and Sullis didn't connect the pre-flip, but not a bad game for Daytona State. They were held a bit more in check. Turnup posting 4 saves on 6 shots of Daytona State. Pretty solid on his part, with the 2 goals as well in his name. South Carolina recovering from that game 1 shutout loss and get some revenge as they blanked Daytona State in the back half of that game. So we'll get into game 3 now, see how DSC recovered, if they can find more offensive productivity. But I will say, the 6 shots they put up, pretty memorable. They were quality looks on the South Carolina net. So if Daytona State can continue to pitch a good defense on the orange end of the field, then their quality looks, I think, will start falling a bit more if South Carolina even take a second off.
Yeah, they were indeed quality, just a little bit too few and far between if you're a Daytona fan. I mean, except for that last 30 seconds when they really started to hammer down on that USC net, just shot after shot there. But now off here in game 3, it's USC right away, trying to play that ball a little awkward to catch the defense off guard, but able to stay with it, turn it away. Now SJT's got hands on it, trying to bring it up, turn it down below, bump in front of him, top left, he brings it. USC starting it off strong here.
Honestly, they warmed up faster than I was expecting. They really cleaned up the mistakes from game 1, the missed open nets, missed opportunities in offense, and all around, well, honestly, all around sloppy play. But there was too much sloppiness mixed into the South Carolina dish of game 1. But they're looking mighty fine now. Gourmet, the DSC end, though. Smooth with 100 boost can make something happen now, though has to contend with all 3 blue cars on the pitch and is actually doing that. Sets up Gio now for a shot that is blocked by SJT. I don't know how South Carolina survived that, and they still might not.
I mean, that's also credit to USC's recoveries and getting back in position to try and make a play on the ball. When all 3 of them are committed, all of a sudden that first one that went is right back on it to make a touch, get a hand up, and stop the continued attack of Daytona State, really stopping them from anything too dangerous coming up on offense. Here's a chance here, Gio downfield. SJT is back to keep it away. Does a good job of keeping it from that first man of Daytona State as well. That's a mistake coming out from Daytona, and SJT will get the credit for it.
Oh, complete own goal right there. Smooth driving back through the play, and just I don't know, close their eyes for a moment, and real lapse of judgment on the Daytona State side. Hopefully they can recover from that. It's an embarrassing one to be committing on stream, but it's all good. These are players that I'm sure can keep their head on their shoulders, but they're now down by a couple of goals here. First time that's happened in this series so far. Daytona State are now, actually they've gone against a South Carolina run of scoring. It's 4 consecutive unanswered goals from the Gamecocks, and Daytona State, you can kind of see are feeling it.
Yeah, just continue to be pressured on the defensive end. Not really being able to find a way to break out easily. It's a grind to get out of their own half anytime USC brings it over here. And they're just hammering down shots, continuing to try and find advancement through that orange half of the pitch. And again, just continuing to break down this defense and make them work over and over again. As again, Gio trying to find a way out, is able to get past SJT. Sullis a chance there, but Turnip does a good job to block it. Smooth, no boost, just has to send it up. Nobody has boost out here on the side of Daytona State. Gonna have to try and recover fast here. Sullis does do a good job of that. Smooth not gonna try and bring it up again, but double commit. He'll leave the net open. Turnip's getting bullied. Smooth, oh no! Again, just causing detriment for Daytona State here.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a great angle with director cam on that. I don't know if it was completely in, but that looked like he unnecessarily made contacts, and we'll have to watch it again a little bit later, I suppose, if you want an official answer, but that looked like a surefire Daytona State goal, and now I'll have to try again. Smooth can make up for it right here. Nearly does, but Turnip this time around makes the save by his own volition, and South Carolina will keep their 2-goal lead.
Smooth has been great all series for him, creating space in that offensive half. Just a couple egregious mistakes here in this third game. Gonna have to try and chalk it up and wipe it off the sweat of his brow and move on forward. Try not to do that anymore, as Gio now almost gets one for Daytona, but Og just able to get to it at the last moment here. And USC again continuing to bring that ball into the orange half and clutch up on defense when it matters most.
Well, Daytona State's got boost at the very least for this counterattack, and SJT's actually contributing in giving them some space to operate their offense. Pass center sets up Smooth for a shot, but Og, privy to it, jumps on that opportunity for DSC, and South Carolina off the back of that one stop will find themselves a clear and sap more of this clock away. South Carolina now, they can kill this game, will grab themselves a series advantage after being shut out in game 1. They concede the first goal of game 2 and have not looked back since. Looks like a 2-0 shutout victory here, and then otherwise pretty clean game from South Carolina. An okay game from Daytona State outside of some really, really bad mistakes.
Yeah, they haven't made too many of those this series, Daytona State have, but the couple they have made have just been a little bit too egregious. I mean, a 2-point swing entirely out of their favor just from a couple touches. And I'm still optimistic about them going forward, but like you mentioned, Bepic, a 4-goal streak for USC going back to that start of that second game. After Daytona scored the first, they only needed 2 to clutch up that game, the second one, and then 2 in this third game here. Now a 2-1 lead in this series. Still a little bit of time, but if USC continues to roll along, they're going to be on match point after this. So Daytona State's got to try and change it up here as soon as possible and try and find a way to get back into that scoring half again.
Well, they had possession to work with at least in game 3. They were threatening in that South Carolina end, but they've got to find answers in defense. I think that's where the most of the question marks from me lie for Daytona State. As it's a slight miss from Sullis there. I don't know if they were able to get around the ball, but another close opportunity. And whether these are scoreable or not, eventually they gotta wear on the minds of Daytona State a little bit to be this close to scoring on South Carolina and potentially taking games in what have been low-scoring affairs just to come up just shy, and now on the other end of the pitch, maybe concede an opener. It won't happen. South Carolina, close but no cigar, just the same, and now Sullis will get another opportunity off the backboard, but Turnip ushers that ball to safety.
Yeah, some nice counterattacks coming out from both sides here to start off this game. Smooth has a chance, and he's able to get one here for Daytona State. making up for last game. Quick car change. It was all the car's fault on the pitch that had that happen. So able to get the first one here, and Daytona State are able to snap that streak that USC had going and find a way to get a lead again.
Yeah, it's always the car's fault. Every mistake in Rocket League, it's your car making it. The good stuff though, that's you controlling the car, and well, the own goal pinches have been prevalent in this series for whatever reason. The car is deciding chaos apparently, but that one is a bit high. Much to the chagrin of Daytona State, I'm sure they would have loved to give South Carolina a taste back of what they felt in Game 2, but it's all good. They maintain their 1-goal lead. That could change. Og and SJT together attacking Sullis, but it's the defender in that 1v2 coming out on top.
Yeah, good job from Sullis there to put himself in the best position possible, because that was a bad spot to be in, but he made it work, was able to get the save on the goal line. But still, offense from USC. Another save by Sullis coming out here. Smooth, trying to get the clear up, is able to get it over to Sullis, who booms it downfield. SJT right back over to Og, though. Smooth is able to get a hand up, leaves it down for Turnip, and he just cuts the defender out of the equation and brings it right into the net.
And I can finally take over the point that I had to abandon earlier when Daytona State scored when I was talking about South Carolina. But Turnip has improved so much over the course of the last 2 years of play. I remember watching him on South Carolina Garnet when these show matches, or well, these used to be show matches, Wednesday Night Lights, first started. He was playing on that Garnet B team, had an extra year longer than SJT, didn't get the opportunity to come up to the A team until Katz graduated. But now that he's gotten this opportunity with Og and SJT, Turnip is making the most of it, just like SJT did the year prior to Turnip's arrival in that Katz and Og infused lineup. But both guys, grinders, and they make club teams look good all throughout CRL. You know, club teams get a bad rap, but South Carolina definitely one of the good ones that should inspire other programs in this space, as they lead right now 3-1 in an important series for them to continue making waves as an underfunded, under-supported club team.
Yeah, trying to show that there is so much passion at the club level without there being anything really backing it other than just the pure love of the game. And now, I mean, they have a lead here in game number 4. Turnip bringing it down the other way, trying to cut through the defense again, is able to be saved this time around. Geo downfield. Turnip is back to push it away from the net. Would have been open without him down the other way, but is able to keep it out. Geo, another chance there, just wide of the net. Sullis up through the corner, just lets it go. Smooth getting involved, pops it middle to Geo, down to the net, past SJT on the goal line, and Daytona State able to tie it up now.
Simple play. Smooth just popped center. Geo's positioned perfectly for it and strikes nicely. It's the small stuff Daytona State's doing nicely here. Consistency in offense, and they seem to have settled down after a rocky game 3. It's a great equalizer now, as there was a defender to beat, and Geo did so perfectly. And with 90 seconds left, that is an important second goal. It relieves so much pressure of being down going into the final minute, but they still might yet be. I don't know where that ball's going next, but it's not in the back of the Daytona State net. We stay tied.
That was insane. So many bounces back and forth there between so many players in half a second. But at the end of the day, still tied. Now downfield for Daytona State, trying to get offense from it. Turnip doing a good job turning it back around, though. SJT through the ceiling, drops it down. Turnip is there, but so is the defender from Daytona State to keep it out. Now Og up in the air. Will be cleared back upfield by Daytona. They can't come away with possession in that blue half. USC turns it right back around, trying to hound that net once more.
Again, the ball, there's no telling where it's going next. Everyone's getting little chips on it. The 50-50s are going every single which way as both teams are committing aggressively to these challenges, sending 2 players sometimes. And it's ricocheting all around the pitch. But seems like Turnip will settle things down. Their solo play opportunity for him is he's kind of been the strongest player in these solo affairs. These carries on the ball, and a team with Og on it, you would expect that to be the case. But here's Og making his presence known. Hot shot on target, making sure Gio's awake on the goal line, and he is. That gets us to overtime, and so an important next goal is set to befall us here, and most likely the next couple of minutes, but we'll see.
Yeah, you never know how long overtimes are going to last. It's either a few seconds or 3+ minutes. It's really very rare that there's any in between, at least for my experience at this level of Rocket League and up. But we'll see what ends up happening. We know USC, they love to hound the net. They love to put on shot after shot. And Daytona State, their defense has been doing a good job of keeping the ball away and keeping it out of the net. And we'll have to see who is able to take advantage of this overtime here, as we see USC right back on offense, but a little bit of mistake from them this time around, and Daytona trying to get something to go from it.
They're not allowed to, though. Og gets a clean win out in front of Gio. Beats him with pure pace there at the midfield, and it won't turn into immediate offense for South Carolina, but Daytona State actually aren't able to turn it around. They can't score. Smooth off the back wall. Had a spectacular plan for that play, and everything works out except for the final 2% of it. And now SJT turns it right around and scores. DSC are being tested mentally in this series, and South Carolina so far are on top.
From being so close to having it all taken away in the matter of moments. I mean, USC are just doing a good job of surviving at this point, at least in that overtime. They did. Hold on. There's too much Rocket League happening here. There's too much back and forth. USC, 14 shots compared to 11 from Daytona. I mean, USC, they are doing such a good job of staying in that offensive half and extending time there. And then Daytona, their defense has been the standout in this series. But, I mean, when you have so much pressure from a team like USC, you're going to break more often than not. And they just haven't had the offensive shootout to go along with the defensive pressure that they're having to withstand.
Well, this is a great series of improvisational Rocket League. Both teams are having to find a way to operate in a lot of chaos, and Sullus will strike first here. Not a ton of chaos, opening things up. Pretty standard beginning, but Smooth snatches the ball away from Turnip right there, and SJT and Og are hung out to dry on the goal line. Sullus had the best angle out of the three names aforementioned, and so Daytona State will strike first in Game 5. It's good to see them recovering after a heartbreaking loss in Game 4.
Yeah, we see Daytona State just struggling to score and get past the defense of USC so many times, and then they just come out and score a kickoff goal in the first 11 seconds of a game here. But I mean, it's nice to see that they're still finding a way to get through the net. A little bit of a double commit there, opens up some space for SJT. Was able to get back to the ball, but couldn't put it back on target. Now Sullus having to play for the 50 with Turnip. SJT through the back wall. Gio will be there to pop it out. Boost total is running a little bit low here for Daytona State on the defensive end. Turnip off the backboard. SJT's there. Shot on target. Gio able to get a goal line save. Still nothing in the tank here for the defense. Now Smooth has just a little bit, able to make the save. Sullus was able to get a full pad, is able to boom it downfield, opened up some space for Daytona and breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief.
Good contact, keeping South Carolina hemmed in a little bit. Gio trying to play into space, but Og backs into a challenge, wins the 50, though. It's a quick recovery. Pass the ball backwards and reset Daytona State at the midfield line. Lots of boost again. They do a good job with these extended pressure plays Daytona State do at maintaining their boost levels. It's rare, I feel like, that you see them with empty boost tanks when they need to make a play, but Smooth right there does have an empty boost tank that'll refuel in the South Carolina corner. Could be significant as this possession continues to unfold in the USCN. Smooth going after turn up, and didn't have immediate shot support. When he did, a little bit off. South Carolina recovered enough to deter that shot, and they will break away without conceding a second goal.
Yeah, and doing a good job of keeping it away from their net on the defensive end as well. I mean, they have one goal, and that's all they're able to get so far, but defense has been able to clutch up on that goal line. Now looking for a second one here. Turnip isn't able to make contact, but Sullis not able to get a good touch and try and put a shot on target. Have to try and take it away from USC once more. Does let that ball go. Gio trying to set it up. SJT not going to allow it to happen. Sullis off the sidewall. Gio's going to be there for 50, but SJT there to clear it out. Only for a brief moment, however. Now Daytona State are the ones that are trying to hound the net here. Flip it on USC and try and find a second.
Oh,
but
my
that's
word.
Oh no, not again. Oh no.
That's another painful concession. Two players go. Gio is just hanging around, hoping for a 50-50 pass to give him a chance on the ball, and ends up ricocheting off of him. And at this point, I mean, there have been bad mistakes for DSC that have given up goals like that, but they have also had just a couple moments where the ball is sent at them poorly and they're not completely ready, and it just ricochets off into the back of their net, where it feels like in 90% of the other instances, the ball would just go harmlessly to the side or to a corner or something like that. And I mean, for Daytona State, I don't know these guys. I don't know how strong their mental game is within Rocket League, but I'd be pretty pissed off if I was conceding some of the goals that they've been conceding in this series. So credit to them for staying solid, not trying to overstretch for goals to make up for it, even down 3-1 in this series. They're not playing too aggressive. They're still doing the small stuff right, controlling possession, controlling boost, and they're not getting ahead of themselves with some of these rough goals that South Carolina are scoring on them.
Yeah, I mean, USC is in the lead in the series 3-1, but all the games have been so close by inches, and Sullis is able to get that goal back for Daytona State, is able to get the lead back here for him. Minute 10 left to go, trying to find a second win here in this series and try and find a march back. Wouldn't be a reverse sweep as they did get that first game, but just trying to find some more life here in this series.
Yeah, and I mean, scoring that goal is a great example of my point. It's just composed, good shooting, and not getting too stressed out about opportunities like that. And it's another lead for Daytona State. They keep this series rolling if they can close out this final 50 seconds of Game 5 without giving up another one. But South Carolina have a breakout opportunity here. SJT and Turnip going backboard with it, but Sullis has the read along a 50-50 at the midfield line, will only stall Daytona State's movement back into the offensive zone. This game has been wholeheartedly DSC operating their offense, as field domination's at 62% in their favor at the moment, and that'll grow now that Gio's found another clear.
Yeah, USC this time are feeling the effects of what they are normally able to do on the offensive half, and just continuing to be hounded on their own half. Oh, good demo on the goal line, almost opened up space, but Gio was just able to get through the smoke screen and make the save. Now all the way back the other side, it'll hit the ground, and Daytona State have found a way to win this fifth game here, and they are now down 3-2 in the series, but still have some life left in them to try and take this one.
And that was more their game. South Carolina were brought back down from the last two games. They put up 14 shots in Game 4, 9 shots in Game 3 before that, and that's that felt like a situation they were more comfortable in, with the chaos reigning on both ends of the field, stretching to make transition stops, turn that immediately into offense on the other side of the field. The pinball out in front of Daytona State, South Carolina were still nearly managed to turn into a score, but Daytona State collect themselves. They play the possession game nicely, and I feel like if you were to ask them what changed in that game, they'd give that classic athlete answer. Well, we were able to play our game in on the pitch, and well, not their game anymore. South Carolina quickly reset 14 seconds into game 6, and they've got themselves a lead.
Yeah, just a very quick counterattack there right away after DSC tried getting a little bit of offense. Smooth almost had another nice opening goal, but saved and turned around by USC, and now they are back in the lead. We've seen them in this position many times before. They're comfortable here. They just got to try and stretch the field more, and just like that, it's an out 2-0. SJT getting the goal credit for this one.
I don't know what happened between games. I mean, that's not something we saw at all from Daytona State last game. No double commits like that, where you send your second and third man on a center ball. That's rough, and it's a mistake that they are really going to have to dig deep to make up for, especially now that it could be 3. Double commit stop will deny Og a solo play goal, and Daytona State have some numbers right here. Sullis tried to turn around for a quick opportunity on net, but Turnup makes a block, and Smooth with the center ball will score. All right, had to hang on my word right there. Ball hit the crossbar and stayed out a little while longer than I'm sure DSC fans would have liked, but it's tapped in eventually.
Yeah, I don't even think Gio was able to tap it before it was able to go in. Smooth still getting the credit for that one, but I mean, we saw it earlier in the series. Smooth had a shot just like that that was stretched on that goal line that was eventually pushed out. This time was finally able to go in, much to the chagrin of USC. Smooth not able to get to that one. Og, he gets it right back here for USC.
Oh, and it's a back pass from Sullis there. DSC, unfortunately, are tripping on their own feet at times in this set. Og doesn't need much more than an opening that size to score. And that'll be a 2-goal lead again for South Carolina, but they have doubled. And the higher boost total player does go deeper into enemy territory, so SJT's got to buy a little bit of time, and with a couple of fake challenges and a couple of 50 wins, they'll do exactly that. The Gamecocks looking clean with it in Game 6 as they were stuck in defense all throughout Game 5 by this Daytona State midfield line. But here, completely different story, and that was almost 4.
Just a little bit of a different flip there, and that would have been another goal and a hat trick for him as well. But instead, scoreline still 3-1. Daytona State still struggling to find that offensive half and get a foothold in that blue side of the field, as USC just playing their game once more and continuing to find shot after shot. Already at 6 here with not even half the time played. Up 3-1. Gio back down the other side, trying to get a clear here, open up some space for the offense to work, but USC continuing to constrict them back into their own half.
SJT with a good chance to shoot, but Smooth covers that goal line. It was out into space, but there was a South Carolina Gamecock lurking at the midfield line. Og now going off the backboard. He won't hit a double, and he had to turn up to maybe take a shot, but Daytona State stacked that goal line. They break out with Gio, and off the backboard, SJT won't allow Gio to set up a passing play into shot. And it's good looks on both sides, but the defenses are much improved. I think they've only gotten better as this series has gone on.
Yeah, I mean, apart from ever so slight mistakes here and there, the defensives have been rock solid. It's only been a couple double commits that Daytona State have had in this game, which is why USC have been able to really take full advantage of those. Now Gio has a shot here, gets one back for Daytona State. Sullis sees Gio and Smooth, decides to get it over to Gio, bumps SJT as well for making a play. Turnup not in a good position to get a hand up there, and it is finally able to be back within 1 here for Daytona.
Still showing that mental fortitude that I think has really kept them in this series despite some of the goals they've given up. But that was South Carolina trying to destroy the minds of everyone watching that play. SJT almost made it work coming in and out for a shot, and it's possible. I've seen goals like that before, but A little bit out of the realm of possibility right there, unfortunately. And now everyone's pre-jumping. Are you kidding me? South Carolina, gotta be careful now. You've only got so much jet fuel, and everyone was flying for that ball. And yet they don't even have an open net to worry about getting back in defense. Now they might be scoring on the other end of the pitch. SJT drops down to Og, but the woodwork clangs. And South Carolina are denied a fourth.
Still have the pressure on, though. Og back over to Turnip. Nobody back in net for Daytona State. Defense just got cut up a little bit too much there. And now there's that goal that USC was thinking of when all three of them were in the air at the same time. But now, minute 13, Daytona State backs against the wall. We'll have to see what they are able to do in these final moments of this game.
Well, they've got options again. These passing plays have worked out well for Daytona State, but pass cut between, I think, two orange cars up ahead, and so it doesn't pan out for DSC. Gio now trying to chase this ball down, and SRT sends it right at his nose, so they've at least got possession. Daytona State do here late in Game 6, a must-win for them. They want to start off their NECC Division II campaign with a victory, but that time melts away fast, especially when Og's stealing boost, finding clears, centering the ball, but there's no one there to shoot. Solis sacrifices his life, putting it on the line to find a clear, and we're going back and forth, which benefits South Carolina. Not so much what Daytona State needs right now. They could use a third goal sooner rather than later.
Yeah, gotta try and get it with as much time left on the clock. Almost had it there, but Solis just couldn't read the ball good enough. Og all the way back downfield. Time under 10 seconds now. Solis trying to fake out SJT. Gio shot will go wide. The time reaches 0. 2-goal lead for USC. That will end the series. 4-2 is gonna be the final scoreline.
That's one of those series that I think a lot of competitors will say this after a loss, but they're like, come on, I want that matchup again. Give me another fresh best of 7 against that team. And I think Daytona State would be justified in thinking that way about this series. Couple of bad bounces influenced that one. Not to say South Carolina didn't deserve the win. I think they were the better team at the end of the series. But what could have been if we didn't have those strange team pitches that Daytona State scored on their own nets, the bounces off of Gio at the midfield line that went in incidentally, but South Carolina did so well, even when they were stuck on their own goal line, to deter Daytona State on the blue end of the pitch, that they deserved that win for sure. But what an opener. This is just week 1 of the NECC.
Yeah, I mean, a couple wrong place, wrong time scenarios there for Daytona State, but like you said, week 1, plenty of NECC season ahead for Daytona State. They can hold their heads high. They take it against one of these, the very toughest of Division II possibly. I mean, we'll really have to see going down the stretch who's able to take that #1 spot. But I mean, USC definitely a heavy contender for that #1 spot in Division II. We'll have to see going forward. But Daytona State, I mean, they really took it to them. Just a couple unfortunate scenarios there.
Well, South Carolina, since they came out on top, I'm going to shoot them a message, see if they want a winner's interview. We'll see if we get to chat with any of the boys at the end of this series. But we get to hear from them pretty frequently. They are a usual, I think, of the top of the CRL space. This South Carolina roster has been one of the best club teams in CRL for the last several years now. And SJT has confirmed that he'll be popping into the booth in just a second, so we'll get to hear from him. We'll get to see them on land. I hopefully they don't dock my pay for revealing this, but South Carolina will return to Boost on the Beach this semester. They've been there the last several years, and so looking good already online. We'll see how they look on land later on, but for now, let's chat to SJT, bringing him into the channel here. SJT, can you hear me all right? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I appreciate you joining us after a pretty solid win. I got to know, I mean, Daytona State kind of fought back pretty hard, and this is a stacked NECC group, so it's going to be difficult, I'm sure, for anyone to make it out of East B alive. But talk me through that series. It was back and forth at the start, but you guys closed it out well. What went into that?
Yeah, it was a pretty hectic one. It really just came down to hitting our shots. There was a bunch of missed shots. We had, I mean, even Og didn't even want to see his stats after that game. Oh my God. It was pretty bad. But once we started hitting our shots, we just always played our game and it works. So.
I mean, yeah, you guys had a lot of shots. I mean, over double digits, and I think 5 out of the 6 games there that you had double-digit shots and just really hounded the net. How did that feel, finally being able to convert more than 1 or 2 of those into the net?
Oh, I mean, it definitely felt good. Turnip, after missing a few, he was like, all right, I'm slotting the next few of these, and he just started hammering them on net and putting them all in. So that's what we needed, and it worked out great.
Yeah, how did you guys feel after that 5th game when Daytona State were able to get a comeback win and have a little bit more life in the series? What kind of changed going from game 5 to game 6 for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a few like clumsy mistakes, especially on the defense. I feel like whenever we play bad, it's just stupid goals. Like any of the goals that are scored on us are just stupid. We fix those mistakes, which we did in the next game, we just win.
Makes sense. It's a pretty good win for you guys to start. And honestly, throughout that series, I felt like Turnip on the ball was more of a threat than Og was, which was a little surprising. So, I mean, talk about him. You know, you got a semester with him on the A team, at least, last fall. But I know you guys have had plenty of experience playing with each other. I mean, how much has he elevated this team to a CRL top 32 contender?
Oh, I was waiting on Cats to graduate. I ever since I was on the B team, I've been sitting there helping him grind, helping him learn the game, and then he's came on. Now he has the help of Og, and he's just become such like a great player. He improves so quick and takes note of stuff super fast as well. He's just a great learner.
Well, it's showing. He really has improved so much. And I guess we heard it here first. Katz was bringing the team down the whole time. We need to turn up in Katz's place. But SJT, dude, congrats on the win over Daytona State.
I didn't say that.
I appreciate you joining us in the booth. It's always good to talk to you, man.
Yep, thank you.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of the broadcast. Sleeper, my internet's trying to kill me at the end of this one, as it always does, so I'm going to try and close it out quick. But I appreciate you for joining me in the booth for what was a really good series, our longest one of the evening. South Carolina starting off with a bang against the Daytona State team that we can't forget about. They'll be around this entire spring.
Yeah, it's always wonderful being able to be here and actually seeing some NECC matches show up here tonight, and more than just show matches with a little bit more implications on the line, but we still got a great series out of it from some great teams, and it was just a fun night all around from the first game and then the one with Akron Gold and Kennesaw State. I mean, we saw Akron try and have that comeback late on, but then Kennesaw just shut it good here to start this CRL season, and we'll just see what happens going forward with that team and what they're able to bring to the table for the rest of the semester.
Well, right now, I'm going to raid the main NECC channel because we've got 2 teams in the same division as Daytona State and South Carolina duking it out, looking like they're about to go to Game 7 with Florida and Florida Southern playing. The state of Florida is just in the spotlight tonight as Daytona State look good, and both Florida Southern and Florida both look solid at the moment. So go show some love to the main channel. Thank you for watching it tonight. I'll be back streaming probably this weekend with another ranking stream, I'm sure, some viewing parties, whatever is happening this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But as always, thank you everyone that tuned in. Thank you to all the players that let me stream tonight. Thank you to my wonderful talent of Sleeper, Taquito, and Somber for joining me. We're raiding the main channel, so go show some love to NECC Esports. I'll see you next time.